Laissez les bon temps rouler, baby. Happy Mardi Gras Day, upstate South Carolina. Happy Fat Tuesday to all y'all. To y'all, to your mom and them, to everybody. Happy Mardi Gras, friends. Welcome in the Mardi Gras Day edition of the Rob Brown Show. Goes now. This, the Fan Upstate Show. Good to have y'all. I'm not going to talk like that the whole time, I promise. I might though. We'll see how it go.
We be in.
That's not the same thing at all.
It's French.
Muy bien?
I said we.
Oh.
I said we. I'm sorry I didn't enunciate well, but neither do the French. So there's that.
Oh, mon ami. We good to pass a good time today, y'all. Okay, that's enough. I mean, it's not enough. I listen to Zydeco all damn day.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
My mom's got a really funny story. My grandma Tiny. My mom's grandma. My great grandma, I guess I should say. My great grandma Tiny, on my mama's side, was French Cajun. She spoke French, spoke French. And my mom will tell you the story when she was growing up, and the first Moulin Rouge came out. And Voulez-vous coucher avec moi was like the first time it was released. I don't know who sang it the first time around.
It was disco.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when the remake came out. I'm just like, yeah, I know this song because it was disco.
I don't know who sang the first one, but you had Pink and Christina, etc., doing it the second time around.
And Lil' Kim.
Who else was on that track? There were like two other women on that track. Was Missy Elliott on that track?
I believe so.
I think Missy Elliott was on that track. And there was one more. I can't remember who the last one was. I think there was 5. Maybe 4, but I think there was 5. Anyway, point is, the first time that song came out, and it got real big on the radio, my mom was telling me the story of how when she was a youngin', and that song was a bop amongst the youths back in the day, that she listened to that track at one point. And my grandma Tiny, who spoke French, is where I get my French Cajun from. My grandma Tiny heard it and went like white as a ghost. This would have been in like, if my mom was here, I'd make the joke that it was in like the 1940s, but it wasn't. It was like in the 70s. And my mom said she got grounded for like 3 weeks for listening to that song, but she didn't know what it meant.
It was actually LaBelle. So before Patti LaBelle became a solo artist, LaBelle was and I'm just see a thing where Patti LaBelle didn't know what it meant. She just read the lyrics.
She just got told to say voulez-vous coucher
she just read the lyrics and didn't know what it meant.
So apparently my grandma Tiny, who did speak French, heard that song and flipped the lid. My mama, who did not speak French, did not know what it meant, like Patti LaBelle, like the LaBelles. And mom let that track rip in front of my grandma Tiny. Maya, that's who it was. Thank you, Texter. Nice call. Nice job. Good save. Kick save from the text line. I like it. Apparently my grandma Tiny lost her damn mind. And granted, my mom
did she
like
lose her
weeks.
mind? It doesn't sound like she lost her mind. There was a different way of thinking. Not that it was a bad way. And you know.
Yeah, I don't think it probably didn't fly in the 70s like it did when Pink and Maya and Missy and Christina dropped it a few decades later.
If you think about it, disco came after the 60s, so it did fly in certain places. Just not for people who were raised in the 40s and the 50s.
Not French Catholics from Southeast Louisiana.
There you go.
Grandma Tiny was not a happy camper back in the 70s. All right.
Did your mom sneak off and listen to it anyway? Probably.
My mom snuck out to go to a concert with the drummer of a band lately after that. And I don't know what happened to that dude, but I hate him. Just so we're all clear, I hate that guy. My mom was a good lady, and you were trying to corrupt her. Ladies, don't date drummers. All right, don't date drummers. They're the worst in the band. They're the worst.
Drummers they're weird, man.
They are. They're the worst people in the band, except my drummer, who's amazing. But all the other drummers in the world.
So your drummer doesn't have any weird things about him,
My drummer is one of the greatest people I've ever met. He was a male cheerleader in high school, and he raps all our songs with us and does backflips off the stage. He's
okay,
great.
So he
is the showman of the band. Without a doubt.
So he's athletic.
Oh yeah, okay. He's the showman of the band for sure. Y'all, we got a day lined up ahead of us. A lot of stuff to get to, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot to get to over the course of 4 hours of sports talk excellence right here and only on the Fan Upstate. My name, shockingly, I know, is Rob Brown, directly on the other side of the metaphorical glass, the guy in charge of not just this radio program, but every radio program that you've ever heard and loved. He is the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound. That is the Rob Brown Show, the Sultan of Swag, professor of perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the content cash cow himself. The great one, Lonzo's here as well.
Lonzo is a superstar.
Yes, he is. And we have got all the stuff to get into on the show today. All the stuff to get into. And I want to jump right in because something from the Super Bowl, a game that only we in the Upstate on the radio are allowed to say the name of, because we were and probably will be again next year, your home for Super Bowl coverage in the Upstate of South Carolina. I don't think that I can express how much sympathy I don't have for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think I can tell you. There was the conversation ongoing about the 49ers electing in overtime to get the rock. They decided they wanted to receive the opening kick. They wanted the ball first. And everybody except Andy Reid had a question about that. Everybody except Andy Reid said, "What are we doing?" to the 49ers. Not me. I was fine with it. It's a damn Super Bowl. If I don't think my offense can go score a touchdown, what are we doing here? So I didn't have a problem with it at all. A lot of folks after the game was over were asking Kyle Shanahan, some of the players, hey, what went into the decision that you guys made to decide you wanted the ball? With the new playoff rules, the Mahomes-Allen rules in overtime in the playoffs, why would you not kick it away, try to get a stop, and find out what you would need as opposed to the other way around? Now, I've got my own reasoning that I am very much team take the ball first. I want to know, especially when I've got as much talent as San Francisco did, I want to know that it is my team that dictates the terms of victory, not Patrick Mahomes. I want to know that Mahomes has got to come out and have a legendary moment, an all-time moment that we would be talking about for decades to come, just to tie the game, just to tie it, just to have that moment we're talking about for decades to come, only to still have to give me the ball back for one more shot at it. That's what I want. But that's the football aspect of it. That's the X's and O's side of it. There's another side of it. There's the rules side of it. And ever since the conclusion of that game, there has been this wild focus on the number of people that have said, oh, we didn't know the rules. They have been no fewer than 3 different 49ers so far, including my favorite 49er, Kyle Juszczyk. I'm an old school fullback guy. What can I say? That have said, I didn't know what the new rules were until I saw them up on the video board at Allegiant Stadium to begin the overtime period. And there have been some folks in the media that have dumped on the NFL. Guys, this is not on the NFL. In fact, not only is this not on the NFL, but I would go a step further and say this is directly, solely, only, exclusively on the coaching staff of the San Francisco 49ers. See, the story came out of Kansas City. They were having the same conversation, and at least 2 Chiefs so far have said that during the run-up to the playoffs, the Chiefs had multiple organizational meetings in which they discussed just the playoff overtime rules. They all got together and said, we got these new rules. Because of us, we got these new rules. We've got these new rules about how overtime is handled in the playoffs. So because we have these new rules about how overtime is handled in the playoffs, this is our new strategy should we end up in an overtime game in the playoffs. The 49ers had a plan. The NFL didn't keep it secret. It wasn't like when overtime got there, they sent the captains out to pull the lever on a slot machine and spin a wheel and decide what overtime rules we were going to use today. The rules were the rules. They were widely available. I am a certified, bona fide idiot. I knew what the overtime rules were before they announced them to start that period.
I didn't know, but you know when I knew? When the referee explained it to both teams on the field before the overtime. He explained it thoroughly. It was completely understandable. I'm like, oh, okay, those are the rules now. So the referee explained it right there. There's really no excuse for not knowing. And in the end, if they would have taken the ball first and Kansas City still won, what would we be talking about right now?
So let's start by saying, and I think this is maybe the most important thing we will get to today, Bill Vinovich sucks.
Still explained it thoroughly.
He did.
To a degree where even someone as simple as me was like, oh, okay, cool.
Which makes it that much more, I don't know, impactful. If Bill Vinovich sucks, and he does, and yet he explained it to all of us in a way that all of us went, oh yeah, that's right. That's what we're doing this year. Then there is precisely zero reason that we didn't know the rules was an excuse for San Francisco.
Yeah, but it's also out of sight, out of mind. You learn how to do something, you never use it. You're going to forget how it goes, even with a refresher. And then you're thinking, I don't really need to know that. This thing ain't going to be a tie. How many ties were there in the NFL last year? I don't think there was one single tie. Now, the year before, I think there might have been like 2, but there wasn't a tie this year. So I mean, if it doesn't,
that rule, by the way,
is only for the playoffs.
For the playoffs.
I know. I get that, but what I'm saying is, if there are no ties the entire season, what would make you think there's going to be a tie in the Super Bowl?
Look,
I get being prepared.
That's it.
But at the same time, if something didn't happen the entire year, I think it's excusable to not know some of it.
I don't. To me, if you are going to win a world
championship, that didn't cost them the Super Bowl. The Chiefs did.
I'm not saying it did. I am saying that there are a lot of people out there utilizing it as some sort of excuse, some sort of scapegoat. There's a lot of 49ers fans specifically, but there are some national figures in the game right now, some that I respect and like. There are some national figures out there that are talking about this, and they are saying, oh, the fact that they entered the overtime period and didn't know the rules, the NFL didn't do a good job of sharing that information. Guys, when they made the switch, it was a national news story. It was a controversy. Remember the reason we made the switch? We made the switch because of a game in which Patrick Mahomes got the ball and scored, and Josh Allen never got a shot.
If I recall, the same thing happened to Kansas City, and then Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, and no one made a big deal about it. It's only because it was Josh Allen.
No, I think a lot of people made a big deal about that.
I didn't cry about it. They lost. That was the rules. That's how it goes. The whining, the crying got to change, and now there's whining and crying about the change. I mean, there's always going to be an excuse for the losing team, and that's what this is, an excuse for the losing team. San Francisco lost. Whatever the reason they lost, they lost. Kansas City won. Okay. The year that Kansas City didn't win and they lost in overtime to Cincinnati, you know what they didn't do? They didn't go to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati did.
I will say that I absolutely have a problem with an overtime setup where a quarterback doesn't even get a shot. I absolutely agree with that. I agreed with it then. I agree with it now. Just because them's the rules don't make them good rules.
Hey, they changed the rules. Yay. They changed the rules.
So
big deal.
Them's the rules doesn't make it a good rule. And I was very, very glad to hear that the NFL said, yeah, that's not a great way to handle this. We should probably set it up to where both offenses have a crack. So they did. And now we got the new rules.
Josh didn't get the ball. We got to change it. We got to fix it for Josh. And then Josh couldn't even make it to the championship game.
I respect your commitment to the gag of doing your best to on Josh Allen. And I respect it. I do.
By the way, it's
commitment to the bit.
It's not a bit. It's exactly how I feel. And you can't change my mind on that.
Wouldn't dare try. So I look at this and I'm good with the rule change. In fact, I like the rule change. The rule change is a good rule change. I was on board for it. And now that we are where we are with a good rule change, I am going to say that I thought that the excuses flowing about the 49ers not knowing the new rule and maybe that impacted that. Guys, again, Bill Vinovich, who I will fist fight on sight. I don't care if he's a 60-year-old man. Bill Vinovich got on the mic and he said,
gentlemen, these are the no overtime rules. One team is going to score. If that team scores, the other team get a chance to score. And then after that, it's the next team to score.
He explained them all. They put them on
Do
a
you really
gigantic
think that
projection on the scoreboard.
People can understand that on their car radio when they're driving. It's just garbage.
It certainly helps out.
They put it up on a big-ass screen on a gigantic Jumbotron. I am going to say if Kyle Shanahan and the 49er coaching staff did not understand the rules of overtime before the game started, that's on them. If they didn't understand it and break it down to the team, that's on them. But there is zero, none, nada, nine. There is zero reason at all that the team didn't know the overtime rules when overtime kicked off, because even Bill Vinovich did his job to let you know what they were. This is not an excuse. It is not a way out. You lost the game because the other team was better prepared for the moment than you. That's all it comes down to.
So because you're wearing a cape, which signifies royalty, what should be the repercussions of their lack of knowledge? Should he be fired? Should he be fined? Should they lose scholarships? What should be the repercussions?
Look, that's up to San Francisco. I will say this: if I'm John Lynch, I'm pretty disappointed. Right? I'm pretty upset.
Do you think John Lynch knew the rules?
I have no doubt.
I don't know. I kind of have doubt. I do.
If I was John Lynch, I would be furious by this. Even if I didn't know the rules, I've got to expect my head coach too.
You know what? It's John Lynch's fault. because he's over the football. He should have made sure that the coach and everyone knew. John Lynch should be let go.
All right.
He should lose scholarships also.
John Lynch should lose scholarships. If I'm John Lynch, yes, I'm ticked off. Even if I didn't know the rule, I need my head coach to, because we all going into this knew that San Francisco was a 2-point favorite. And now that we look back, we kept wondering, why 2 points? Why isn't it moving? Why 2 points? And I think we can look at it now and realize that aside from the fact that on paper, the 49ers have more talent, it was, by all accounts, about a 65-35 San Francisco crowd in Allegiant Stadium, right? It's like 4 hours from San Francisco. It was a better 49er crowd. So they had a mild home field advantage, and maybe that's where that 2 points came from. Regardless, you have to know overtime is a legitimate possibility, so you have to know the overtime rules. You have to know your overtime strategy, whether you win or lose the coin toss, whether you get the kick or kickoff. I need you to know all of that a week before the game starts in case it happens. And it did, and they didn't, and Kansas City was ready, and San Francisco wasn't. I understand the desire to blame everything on the NFL. Trust me, I will blame everything on the NFL. I kicked my coffee table in the dark last night and stubbed my toe and immediately went, Roger Goodell, it's all his fault. But this one, dudes, this one's on you. We got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got a lot. We got some college basketball on the show today. I got a bunch more NFL as we continue to react and break down to the Super Bowl. ESPN has dropped its 2024 preseason power rankings. So where's your team land? We'll talk about that later in the show. It's Tuesday. It's been a minute since we handed out some
is not real
awards, so we'll do that later today. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate, y'all. All right, stream, good morning, everybody. Welcome in, and also don't go anywhere because I got to do a live read BRB. Stream, good morning. What's up, everybody? Happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Mardi Gras Day.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. With repairs to adjustable coverages and even options.
Well, I just got spoiled on the Indian overall, but that's fine. I could have turned it away from the video, but you know.
It was pretty predictable. The Rob Brown Show rolls on a Mardi Gras Day, Fat Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras Day to all y'all out there across the listening audience. Wonderful to have you. Rob Brown and the great one Lonzo with you on a Fat Tuesday morning. All right, let's keep rolling with it. Hey, you know, the next big thing on the football calendar is the Combine, which starts on February 26th. Then after that, it's officially draft season. In fact, I said yesterday, the Chicago Bears are on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. We are just a couple of months away from the NFL draft. NFL Christmas, a day when all 32 teams in the league, for if only the slightest of moments, have hope, have optimism. It will wane for many of you very quickly. But at least for a day, you can pretend like your team's got a shot. And we are starting to see movement already, getting ready for the draft. There are some stories out and about right now about what certain teams are doing as they prep for the draft. This is a top-heavy quarterback draft. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, amongst others, up towards the top of the board. And the expectation is that there is going to be a bidding war to try to get into those top 3 picks to end up with one of those guys. Michael Penix Jr. will be up in the top half of the first round, as well as a couple of others, I think. So, entering a top-heavy quarterback draft, you would suspect that teams that are inside of the top 3 that need a quarterback would like to stay there. I have said already, I do not believe in Caleb Williams. I like Drake May. I think Drake May has got it in him to be a good enough NFL quarterback. I think Drake May's got it in him to be good enough. I think there are some aspects of Josh Allen to his game, but not the talent of Josh Allen. I don't love Drake May. I do think that there is one absolute can't-miss superstar, one guy who has been very impressive, and that is Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Now, for whatever reason, and I don't know what those reasons are. I have no idea the reasons. But for whatever the reasons, most of the NFL talking heads have decided to go ahead and crown Caleb Williams as the guy, as the next big thing, as the dude. I have said and will say I'll take Jaden over Caleb Williams 10 out of 10 times. But sitting at number 3 are the New England Patriots, a team that did not get anything out of Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, pardon me, in the 2023 campaign.
Don't get Bailey's name wrong.
My bad, Bailey.
Because he's about to disappear and we'll never hear from him again, probably.
My bad, Frank Zappi. They got nothing out of these guys. In fact, they got the opposite of nothing. They got absolutely nothing. That's the same. They got more than nothing out of these guys. To the point that when the season came to its conclusion, there were reports out there that were saying that some active New England Patriots players were happy to divulge over a quiet dinner with the reporter that they didn't like Mac Jones. Mac Jones grated on them. Quite the opposite of the locker room leader. He was a locker room divider with his attitude, with his entitlement, whatever the case might have been. So you would think that the Patriots sitting at number 3 would be very high in the quarterback draft sweepstakes, right? They'd be looking and going, not which one of the 3 do we want, but which one of the 3 is going to be left to us at number 3, up to and including potentially moving from 3 up to 2 or 3 up to 1, because they've got the capital courtesy of Bill Belichick stacking it for years. They could make a blockbuster trade just to move up 2 spots and get the guy that they want out of the 3. But at the very, very least, you would want a spot at number 3 where one of the big 3 is going to fall to you. Well, according to reports, Yahoo Sports being one of said reporters, the Patriots are shopping around the number 3 pick already. Now, I don't bring this up because there's a bunch of you that really give a crap about the Patriots draft plans, although I know there are some Patriots fans in the audience. I bring this up because of one of the teams that has already been connected to the Patriots, has already been connected to the move up to the 3 spot, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. There are so far, according to reports, 2 teams that have already entered conversations with the Patriots about getting their number 3 spot. The team currently sitting in the 11th position, that is the Minnesota Vikings, and the team that is currently sitting in the 3rd position, that is the Atlanta Falcons. Both of these teams make perfect sense. Minnesota makes perfect sense because they've got the opportunity, and he's already said he wants to run it back one time with Kirk Cousins. They've got the opportunity to bring Captain Kirk back for one more go at it and talk about an opportunity for a guy like a Drake May. You get a guy like a Drake May who would have the opportunity to sit and learn from somebody whose game he would, to some degree, emulate. That would be a huge boon for him. While they do play a very different style of game, I think both Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels would learn from the opportunity to sit behind a seasoned veteran, sit behind a guy that knows the league very, very well, and learn. We made the argument last year about Bryce Young. I would love for BY to have the opportunity to sit and learn for a season. No problem with that. I never had an issue with that. I understand that there are some that believe in the trial by fire mentality. My thought on BY sitting wasn't trial by fire so much as trial by fire, but you are throwing him nude into the fire. There is nothing around him to protect him. I'd rather let Andy Dalton take the hard knocks for a season.
Well, clothes do burn off in fire, but you know.
So said Khaleesi. That's a Game of Thrones reference. So I have been, will stay a proponent of allowing rookie quarterbacks a season to sit especially when you've got a guy like Captain Kirk for them to sit behind. That makes sense. Atlanta does not have a choice. Whether it's Jaden or Caleb or Drake May, that dude's getting thrown into the mix because I am not running it back with Desmond Ridder.
Every once in a while, a guy comes along and breaks the supposed rules, and then everyone has to compare the new crop to them. And that's C.J. Stroud. So when you're talking about the quarterbacks, in my mind, I'm thinking, which one of these guys is a C.J. Stroud? Which one of these guys is a Bryce? And to me, they're probably all Bryce. Because you talk about how strong this crop of quarterbacks are, and none of them stand out to me.
I don't know how high. I've said this to Cody Decker. I said this back at the beginning of football season when I told Decker, and by the way, if you tailed me on this, congrats. When I told him I was putting money on Jaden Daniels to win the Heisman Trophy, and everybody went, what the hell are you talking about? And I said, this guy is going to put up Michael Vick-esque numbers, and people went, Rob, you're bananas. And then he did those two things. I don't know how you can watch Jaden Daniels play and not be impressed by the raw athleticism. He has got the most Lamar vibes I've seen since Lamar.
Okay, and Lamar doesn't win. So, I mean, is that what you want? Lamar can't win the big prize, just like Josh Allen. And you think it's me being vindictive. When they do it, I can't say it anymore. And they have not. They have not done it.
I don't like that run as a gauge of quarterback success for multiple reasons. Number one, yeah, it's real hard to win when Patrick Mahomes keeps showing up. I promise you that there were some damn good heavyweight boxers, except Mike Tyson was around.
You know, it's also really hard to do to come out of the draft when C.J. Stroud did what he did last year, because you're going to be expected to do that.
Well,
whether it's realistic or not, you're going to be expected to do that, especially if you have a better team than what Houston did, which is not hard to do.
First off, I'm going to push back on that. The Houston Texans had...
You didn't push back on it last summer. Last summer, you were right there going, why would I want to go to Houston? Why would anyone want to go to Houston?
I agree. And then Houston had one of the most successful drafts of my lifetime with guys like Nico Collins, with guys like Will Anderson Jr. They had one of the most success. They had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year out of the draft last year.
You're right.
Incredible
draft.
You're
absolutely right.
They handled free agency almost flawlessly last year. The Texans going into week one were dramatically different than I thought they were going to be going into preseason camp. Now, I'm still going to give a treasure trove of credit to C.J. Stroud. Incredible year. To the point that I would say, hey, everybody else in the NFL, if you are looking at C.J. Stroud and you are planning on telling Jaden or Caleb or Drake or Penix Jr. or any of these cats, we expect you to have a C.J. Stroud year, that's lunacy.
It may be, but someone's going to do that. Someone's going to say, here is what you could be. And then they're going to show Bryce Young and the other quarterbacks who didn't really do anything this year and go, here's what we don't want you to be. If you're somewhere in between these, that's fine. Here's the top. Here's the bottom. Don't be the bottom.
I think that this stems from or is a symptom of the mentality that has taken over football. Something I've been pushing back on for as long as I've been on the radio. Of it's all the quarterback. It's all his fault. He gets all the credit. He gets all the blame. That's bunk. It's a bad way to look at football. There are 22 guys on the field at any given moment. 22 guys. I'm bad at math, but that's not 100% of the people who dictate success and failure on a football field. Now, does the quarterback get more of the credit than any of the other 21 guys? Yeah. Does he get more of the blame? Yeah. But only exclusively. This is why I get frustrated with the Lamar thing. Lamar can't win the big game. Nobody's ever said that about Zay Flowers. Nobody said that about Zay, who was putting the ball on the ground and was getting 15-yard taunting calls in heavy spots. Nobody woke up the next day and went, it's kind of on Zay Flowers. Nobody woke up the next day and tried to blame the weak side linebacker. It was all Lamar. Lamar can't do it. Nobody wanted to go after John Harbaugh for some stupid coaching decisions down the stretch. Nope. It was only Lamar. That's my issue. And if you take that mentality and you put it on a rookie quarterback, you got to break him. And I do think to some degree that is what happened to BY in Carolina last year. That mentality of as goes Bryce, goes this team, as opposed to how do we make the team good around him so that he can be elevated with them. So, all that aside, if Atlanta decides to move to that 3 spot and they get Jaden Daniels, you ready for the this is going to be the absolute hot takeiest hot take of the day. If Atlanta moves to the 3 spot and gets Jaden Daniels, Atlanta will win the NFC South next year. There's my hot take. It's getting hot in here. If Atlanta ends with the LSU quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner, the most Lamar guy to come out of the college football since Lamar, the Atlanta Falcons will win the NFC South next year. Book it. Write it down. That's my shot. If I am Atlanta, I am doing everything in my power to get to 3. And the reason I say 3 is because I don't think they're getting to 1 or 2. I don't think they are getting to 1 or 2. If I could get to 1 and I'm Atlanta, 100% I'm doing it. But I don't think that Chicago is moving. Part of the reason I don't think Chicago is moving, I am falling more and more into the belief that they are trading Justin Fields. Now, the only reason Atlanta wouldn't move is if they end up making the trade for Justin Fields. A move I would not be thoroughly disappointed in for Atlanta. I wouldn't like it as much as I'd like getting Jaden Daniels, but I wouldn't hate the move. But if you don't end up with Justin Fields and Chicago, that means likely Chicago's going to draft QB at 1. Washington is definitely drafting a quarterback at 2, which means 3 is the only available spot. If I am Atlanta, Jaden Daniels is good enough for me that I would move up to 3. It's going to cost you quite a bit to get from 8 to 3. There's a lot of teams in the mist that are going to have to draft quarterback. The Giants might be on that list. Tennessee's on that list. And then all the teams behind you looking at moving up. But if I am Atlanta sitting at 8, I'm going to 3, and I am Vegas style rolling the dice that JD is going to be available to that spot. And if he's not, all right, we'll toss it in with Drake May or Caleb Williams, and we'll see what happens. But I would take the risk on Jaden Daniels and go to 3. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a lot more stuff we need to talk about on the show. Continuing to break down the Super Bowl, getting set for the 2024 season. I know it's 200-plus days away. I don't care. I want to talk football. We got college basketball and more coming up. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's Rob, it's Lonzo with you. It is the Fan Upstate, y'all.
Sunday 25-22 was the final. Dynasty status officially bestowed upon this team. Can they make it 3 in a row? Head coach Andy Reid says.
We got great competition in the AFC West. We just had some high.
Who officially bestows dynasty status?
I think it's subjective, but I also think that Irvin Magic Johnson once said 3 is dynastic. Question is 3 in how long of a span? 3 and 5 years, I think, certainly counts as dynastic at the professional level. Now, you ever heard the description of infinity, right? We all know what an infinity is, an unlimited amount of something. But some infinities are larger than others, which I know it's a weird concept. So the way it was explained to me is the infinity of integers, real numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, extends into forever. But if you look between the number 1 and the number 2, there's an infinite number of numbers between 1 and 2, right? And so the infinite number between 1 and 2 is smaller than the infinite numbers between 1 and the end of numbers, which goes on forever. Some dynasties are more dynastic than others.
So how can it be infinite between 1 and 2? Because you get to 2 eventually. So that's not infinite.
It is infinite in that you can always split a number into more numbers. You can split everything in terms of abstract thinking. You can split anything in half and get 2 of that thing, and then split those things in half and get 4. No matter how small they get, as long as there is something to them, you can split it in half and get more. And so it's a weird thought, and I acknowledge that it's a weird thought, but I'm a weird dude who has weird thoughts.
Well, if you think of it in terms of substance, eventually you run out of substance. Even if you get down to the
physical,
to
not in the abstract
level, I think he's
not in the abstract. Anyway, point here is some dynasties are more dynastic than others. Are the Chiefs a dynasty? Yes. Are they a dynasty on par with the Patriots? Not yet. Could they be? 100% it's active. If they never win another title, I would still say the Chiefs are a 5-year dynasty. But there's a lot of work to get to where the Patriots were as a dynasty.
Have they equaled the dynasty of San Francisco or Pittsburgh?
All right, want to get to this real quick. Super Bowl was in Vegas this year, and one of the attractions was the Sphere, right? And the big LED dome. And inside of the big LED dome this year was Lonzo, a robot. They had a robot powered by artificial intelligence. It was hooked up to an AI bank. The AI bank was plugged into the internet, and people could ask this robot questions. Hey, robot, what do you think about this, that, or the other? And the robot would respond using artificial intelligence. It was a humanoid robot, and it would move and talk and turn and look and whatever, blah, 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 and it would respond. Well, before the game, some folks made their way into the Sphere. A guy by the name of Joey, who goes by @BetR on Instagram, decided that he was going to try to get an edge on the biggest Super Bowl prop bet of all. How long's the national anthem going to go? Over-under was set at 91.5 seconds. Reba McEntire was singing it. So Joey asked the artificial intelligence this question.
Joey, my name is Aura, and it is lovely to meet you today.
We want to know how many seconds it's going to take Reba McEntire to sing the national anthem at the beginning of the Super Bowl.
You have asked me, how many seconds will it take Reba McEntire to sing the national anthem at the opening Super Bowl ceremony? Is this correct?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Great question. I have heard plentiful questions about the Super Bowl this week, but have yet to hear this specific question.
We need you. Really bad.
I will tell you, according to my database, the duration of the national anthem performance can vary greatly depending on the artist's rendition. In Reba McEntire's case, the data suggests her performance typically falls within the range of 90 to 120
Oh my God,
seconds.
it's over.
However,
It's over.
this is merely an estimation and not a precise calculation.
Well, we are putting 10 grand on your estimation. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-oh. I am not responsible for financial losses. Delete this video and tell no one.
Fair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joey. If I could cross my fingers, I would be crossing them.
She said, please delete this video and do not talk about it. Ha, ha, ha. I loved it so much. Scanned the internet, found all of Reba's old videos, put it together, came up with a number, and for the record, Zoe, was right. She hit the over by about 4 seconds.
Did Joey actually put the 10,000 down?
I have no doubt he did. You don't go run a whole Instagram account about it and go through that much effort to not make the bet. And if he made the bet, he walked out of there about 9.5 G's richer because Reba during the anthem, she got to Home of the Brave and she went Home of the Brave, and that second the Brave carried her to the over. So if Joey put 10K down on the over, courtesy of the advice of the robot, he walked away about 9.5 G's richer. She nailed it.
This proves a theory that I've always had that Reba McEntire is a robot. So, and now we know that she's in league with AI and helped out some dude named Joey.
Sir, you have already once this week decided to come after one of the queens. You will not do it against Reba McEntire.
I am not afraid.
America will stand against you against Reba slander.
No, America won't.
Yes, they will. Does anybody want to hit the text line right now and agree with Lonzo's take that Reba McEntire is in on some sort of
anybody
scandal?
other than Rob's 5?
Hey, my 5. Reba's a queen. You think Reba's been recording
no.
for 40 years?
You got 5 people that's always says yes to anything you say.
Yeah,
so those the outside of his 5, anybody listen. She sang about putting a kid into prostitution,
Here's your one chance,
and people are okay with that. I
was
mean,
telling a story.
Yeah, that she wrote.
Some stories are sad.
Oh, that's not sad. That's illegal.
Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. Forgive me for what I do. Banger! Absolute banger.
It sounded autobiographical. I hope it wasn't.
It
so
clearly was not.
I don't know. I don't know her history.
So
robots don't have history.
I'm just saying. Joey says Reba is the origin of my obsession with redheads.
Yes! 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 Yes!
I get it, Joey.
That's one of your 5, though.
I get it, Joey.
That's one of your 5, though.
I get it, Joey. That's all I'm saying. You are not alone, my brother. Testify.
That there have been prettier redheads than her.
Dude, Reba in the mid-90s was definition of smoke show.
And then she spoke.
Dude, I hate you so
Didn't
much.
she sound like
I hate you so
sound
much.
like Boomhauer?
I hate you so much. So much. You're so unbelievable.
Hey, maybe
Unbelievable
she voiced Boomhauer. It could be.
Texture said that robot laugh reminds me of Dan Aykroyd on the Coneheads. That's a good call. That's a good call. I love that they went to AI, asked for an answer, got it. The answer was right, and the robot told a joke at the end. Bravo, robot.
Did you notice Joey kind of had a New York accent to him? I don't know if you noticed that.
The way I read it?
No, Joey, when he talked.
Oh, yeah, no, I think he is from
he's kind of
the great Northeast.
Yeah, he might have been representing someone when he's putting the 10,000 down. That's all I'm saying.
I got to tell you right now, if that robot is going to keep handing out game winners like that,
so
you know what I'm going to do?
Would you do that? Would you do that? As someone who bets, would you go ask an AI and trust them on that?
The strategies that people use for gambling are wild. I have seen everything from coin flips to I'm going to put a dog treat on a piece of paper with the logo and whatever treat the dog eats, that's the team I'm going to bet on. I've seen everything. I will tell you that at some point in the near future, Deck and I are 100% going to let an AI build our Parlay v Parlay challenge bet. I will absolutely let an AI build our Parlay v Parlay. Why wouldn't you? The AI has the access to and the ability to comb through data you can't even think to find.
How's that legal?
How is it not? It's available. It's all free. It's all on the internet.
Will using AI continue to be legal in betting?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can have all the data in the world. There's nothing you can do if LeBron misses 19 free throws in a game and misses his over-under by a half a point. Everything last weekend for our parlay, everything said LeBron was going to score 35 plus. He scored 24. His number was 24 and a half. Every stat, every piece of data, every little bit of info said LeBron at the Garden was going for 35. He averages like 33 and a half his entire career in the Garden. Everything said he was going over and the under cash. At the end of the day, you can have all the data in the world. It comes down to, does the athlete get it done or not? For sure. But it's still nice to have all the data to make an informed pick. And if the AI has all of that available and can comb through it at a speed your brain can't comprehend, you can have all week to look up every number the AI has instant access to and not get it all. So absolutely, I will let the robot make a pick for me. It's time for Lonzo.
You got to go back and look at the face you make when we
Time for Lonzo too, like a real human. Read this sports flash.
Yeah, because a robot would definitely read it better than I will. If people say they're tired of the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, too bad. The television ratings say they're lying. According to Nielsen, the Chiefs' 25-22 overtime win Sunday night was the most watched Super Bowl of all time, averaging 123.4 million viewers across all TV and streaming platforms. Nielsen also said that at least 202.4 million watched at least part of the game, a full 10% increase over last year. Spurs rookie Victor Wembanyama, a 27-14-10 triple-double last night. But that's not the news, because that 10, that was blocks. And that's really cool. You don't hear about that happening too often or ever. Tune in tomorrow at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, The Fan, upstate. Way to kill it, traffic guy, and not talk for 2 seconds. Wow. Chris Babler.
We take your small business baking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back on sale now. The 2024 Upstate Golf.
I think you'll appreciate it like I did.
Premier upstate courses, and it's only $80. Order at upstategolfcard.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $80. Upstategolfcard.com.
Right now at Macy's, find great Valentine's Day gift ideas like fragrance gift sets from Yves Saint Laurent, Armani, Carolina Herrera, and more. Plus, take an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card on top of 35 to 60% off fine jewelry she'll love. And 5% off chocolate.
That's so dope.
You ever watch anyone do that stuff up close?
It's wild.
It is.
It's
We used to have a guy here who was a DJ with all that stuff, and he just he DJ'd our charity dodgeball tournament, and he's just out there doing. I'm just watching his hands, like, what the heck is he do? How does he know all that?
Before I started the baseball job, the next job I was going to do was I was going to DJ weddings for Shorty. And so I was going through his training, and he had me training with one of his DJs. And this guy could take, know in a song where like a 2-second sound sample was, hit the looper on it as the song was playing for the crowd, and then build something around it to build a 7-second transition into the next song that if you weren't paying attention, you missed it. And he was like a freaking artist, dude. It was wild.
Yeah, how fast they do it and how their mind works musically
it's
is.
There was a guy on the Fallon show once who was a producer for like Meghan Trainor or somebody, and he showed an example of how they took the beeping sound off of a crosswalk thing that's there for blind people to tell them when it's safe to cross. They took that sound, he recorded it, pitched it down, sampled it, and it became the hook sound of a number one seller. And when you heard it, you're like, how did you come up with that?
Oh, that's
how
awesome.
did you invent that?
QC in the first break.
10-4.
Good morning.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown radio program goes right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, on the ones and twos this AM. Should you elect to be a part of the radio broadcast, now is the spectacular time to do it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas phone line. The fan phone is open for you now. At 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You can text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with fan, with fan, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air.
You can do it by a fan if you want to.
I mean, you are a fan, so they're all by a fan, but make sure you start it with fan when you send it into the fan text line so we can read it on the Fan Upstate. Nailed it. We've got a lot of stuff to get to into this hour. But before we do any of that, it is 7:02 in the morning. It is just about the time that you, unfortunately, and I'm very sorry about this, but welcome to the world of being an adult. It's just about time for you to clock in to work. It is just about time for you to clock into work. And when you get clocked into work, you're eventually going to take some time to walk down to the end of that long hallway, to kind of shirk responsibility for a few minutes, because you want to talk about sports. That's why you listen to the show, right? And if you're going to go talk sports with your coworkers, you're going to need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
You hear that?
I'm your huckleberry.
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office, get clocked in, take that first break, and start talking sports with your coworkers today. These are the things that you will be talking about. Let us begin with item number 1. It was the longest Super Bowl game in history. And if you are one of the people that said, I'm not watching, I'm not paying attention, I'm tired of the San Francisco 49ers, I'm exhausted by the Kansas City Chiefs, then let me say, you, sir, are a liar.
You know, really quick, why do people feel like I'm going to make this my status? I did not watch the Super Bowl. Dude, who cares? I mean, good for you. Why do you need to post that? Is it, did you stand up for something by saying that? No, you didn't watch the Super Bowl. Good for you.
The problem with social media is that it gives people validation. Scratch that. It makes people feel like they have received validation. Just by spouting into the ether, it makes them believe that they have changed the world, as Bill Nye would say. It hasn't, because here is the thing that most of you don't recognize. And by you, I mean the people who do this stuff. No one cares. No one cares. This is not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. We don't care. You didn't watch the Super Bowl. I'm so proud. I don't care. Except for you did, because according to Nielsen and Adobe Analytics, the Chiefs' 25-22 overtime victory over the 49ers averaged 123.4 million viewers across TV and streaming platforms. The next highest mark was last year when just over 115 million people tuned in, a 7% increase. Of course, there were more platforms available as the game was televised by CBS, Nickelodeon, Univision, and streamed on Paramount Plus, as well as the NFL's digital platforms. Nielsen said that at least 202.4 million Americans watched at least part of the game across all networks, a 10% jump over last year's figure of 183.6 million. The CBS broadcast alone averaged 120 million viewers. The network's previous mark for its most watched Super Bowl was the 2016 game between the Broncos and the Panthers, when 112.34 million people tuned in back in 2016. Now, there's a lot of different factors that go into these numbers, a lot of different factors that could be attributed to the increase in viewership. Nielsen began including out-of-home viewers in its ratings back in 2020, but did so only in limited markets. The measurement expanded to all 50 states beginning this year. So there were spots where Nielsen paid attention to the number of sports bars, the number of people that could be in those bars, and the number of people who were in those bars, and included them in the figure. Sunday's game was only the second of 58 Super Bowls to go to overtime. The previous, back in 2017, included the New England Patriots rallying from a 28-3 deficit to beat the Falcons. You obviously had outside factors. You had, of course, Taylor Swift, who brought a lot of people into the building. You had the halftime show by Usher, a wildly popular act performing at halftime, which, of course, brought some people in. There were a lot of outside factors, but the reality is this. The NFL is not going anywhere. The NFL is the most watched thing in America. Last year, 97 of 100, the 100 most watched broadcasts in America were all NFL broadcasts. There was one award show, one political event, and one, I forget what the other, the College Football National Championship. There were 3 events out of the 100 most watched programs that weren't NFL games. The other 97 were, and this Super Bowl topped all of them. The NFL's not going anywhere, kids. It's not going anywhere. Item number 2. It broke on the show yesterday that the Charlotte Hornets would be moving on to fresh new leadership, as Mitch Kupchak was going to be stepping down as the president of basketball operations for Charlotte. Obviously, Charlotte is at a very interesting spot in their franchise history right now, because there is kind of a youth movement going on. You've got LaMelo Ball, you've got Brandon Miller. You made some moves during the trade deadline to kind of acquire some capital, free up some cap space. You ended up in a spot where you've got the opportunity to do something new and build around a young team, build around young talent. Very clearly, either Mitch Kupchak or the Hornets, or both, decided that in order to build around fresh young talent, you probably need some fresh young leadership. So Mitch Kupchak is stepping down, which of course led us all to the question, well, then what's next? What's coming up next? What else is happening? Who might roll up into that spot and take that job? And some names. Perfect. Some names started to rotate around the Hornets yesterday. One of them that I am very interested in is Elton Brand. He is the general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers, you will note, have been quite good the last few years. Now, they have not been able to finish the story, but they've been pretty good. They've been real close, and it has felt long like a team that if they could, A, keep Joel Embiid healthy, and B, build around him, they're in a pretty good spot. Now, I have no problem with some level of cautiousness regarding Elton Brand because of the second part of that equation. It is not just Joel Embiid. It is building around Joel Embiid. And in building around Joel Embiid, you would create a world in which case the 76ers are up towards the top. I like Elton Brand. I think Elton Brand has done a good job in Philly. And I think when you consider they have been saddled with players like Ben Simmons over the years, guys that have probably had the talent to be the key pieces around Joel Embiid, but not the mentality to build around Joel Embiid. I mean, I guess you can put that on Elton Brand, but I can't really. I would also point out that Brand has only been in the role less than a year because he replaced Brian Colangelo, who resigned as GM and president of Philly basketball operations. 3 years. He took over back in, what was it, 2019? So maybe 4 years, whatever the number is. I'm bad at math. Point is, since Joel Embiid has gone on this run of MVP caliber seasons, Elton Brand has been working to get Philly closer, and they have gotten closer. If Joel Embiid comes back from this meniscus tear in his knee and is able to get back to being an MVP caliber baller, they made some moves at the deadline that I think puts them into that mix. If Elton Brand ends up in Charlotte, I would be very okay with that. Very okay with that. All right, let's get to item number 3. Your AP basketball men's top 25 came out yesterday, and obviously there were some very interesting results that kind of shook it all up a little bit. How about Gonzaga? Got a marquee win over on Saturday, went into Rupp Arena and knocked off the Kentucky Wildcats, handing them their third straight loss at home, something that has not happened since Rupp Arena opened in 1976. Kentucky has slipped. Texas A&M picked up their 5th win in 6 games on Saturday when they dominated Tennessee, a 16-point win. It's A&M's second victory over a top 10 program this season. They are moving up in the rankings. They are not quite in the top 25, but they're knocking on the door. The Badgers of Wisconsin lost a pair of games last week, 4 in a row, including one to a flailing Michigan Wolverines team, and then a 22-point L shortly after that. The top 25 is very interesting. UConn at 22-2 holds on to the 1 spot. Purdue at 22-2 is 2. Houston took their 3rd loss. They fall down to 3rd at 21-3. Marquette, Arizona, Kansas, North Carolina moves down to number 7. Tennessee 8, Duke 9, Iowa State 10. And would you looky here, great one, at 21-3. And checking in at number 11 this week are the Gamecocks of South Carolina. South Carolina moves up from 15 to 11. But wait, there's more. This is a proving ground spot for South Carolina. And a game that we're going to talk about at length tomorrow on the radio broadcast. They're on the road in Opelika, Alabama, down on the plains of Auburn to take on the War Eagle Tigers. Why is that important? Well, because ESPN's probability indicator is giving Auburn about an 87% chance to win this basketball game. Auburn is now ranked at number 13. Why? They went down to Florida. They got knocked off by the Rowdy Reptiles, by the Florida Gators last week. Auburn having some struggles. They also knocked off Alabama, though, a team that decimated South Carolina. The transitive property of basketball is not a thing. Don't follow that. All right? It's very, very dangerous. Here's where I'm driving. Tomorrow is an opportunity for South Carolina to kill the doubters. Tomorrow is an opportunity for South Carolina to put the haters at bay. Tomorrow, South Carolina can show we belong. We deserve to be here. They can also give those haters a little bit of momentum.
They'd like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
Because if they drop this game, more importantly, if they get thoroughly beat in this game, then
the haters
are going to get louder. You're a 5 seed right now. This win, 4 seed, maybe 3 seed down the line with a couple more and an SEC tournament appearance that is respectable. This game is the biggest hardwood game for the South Carolina men's basketball team since, I don't know, that deep NCAA run a handful of years back. This is the moment. Win this game on the road at Auburn, and
the haters
will have to shut up. That's it. That's the game. We'll break down the X's and O's of that tomorrow. So there you go. There's your water cooler cheat sheet. There's the 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your coworkers today. Let us run to a break. When we come back, it's Tuesday. You know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't told anybody
that is not real
in a minute. So let's do that. Right now on the text line, 71307, submit your nominations for this week's T.M.F.I.N.R. awards. Who do you think should catch a T.M.F.I.N.R. trophy? We'll hand those out when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
All right, guys, got a live read. Do me a favor. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, dudes and dudettes, we are back. Yes. Well done, Zach. Well done. Hater tots?
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries. With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Rob Ryan, Rob Brown.
You see, Zach, you think you're going to cause problems? You think you're going to get me to change my mind? You're not. But you do you, dude.
You do you, boo. Mardi Gras Day, baby. Happy Mardi Gras to y'all, to your mom and him, to all y'all. We just passing a good time here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Welcome back. Rob and Lonzo with you. It is Tuesday, America. It is Tuesday, which means it is time to hand out our weekly T.M.F.I.N.R awards. It is time to figure out which athletes around America are not real.
That is not real.
And have some fun here on the show. Let us get to it, shall we? I think it's only fair. We open up with Super Bowl 58. Super Bowl 58, the Kansas City Chiefs with a 25-22 dub over the San Francisco 49ers, handing Kyle Shanahan his third Super Bowl L as an offensive coordinator or higher position coach. 2 L's as a head coach, 1 as an OC with the ATL, the 28-3 game, which, yes, will live on in my brain forever. So, who catches a TMFINR award from that Super Bowl? Well, unlike the Super Bowl MVP award, I am happy to hand out a TMFINR to a losing player.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Harrison Butker. You're not giving one to Harrison Butker?
Oh, I'm going to hand out a couple of
is not real
awards today.
Because he set a record.
He did set a record and won me some money in the process. We'll talk about that in just a mere moment. TMFINR award number 1. How's it not Christian McCaffrey? 160 total yards of offense and a tutty in this one. 22 carries for 80, 8 snags for 80, and a touchdown through the air. Christian McCaffrey did everything right with one exception. The fumble in the opening drive. If the 49ers score on that drive, we might have a different game. There's probably, Zoe, I did my rewatch last night. If I recall correctly, I think I counted 6 different plays that had a dynamic outcome. I'm not talking about they ran left and instead of picking up the first down, it was 3rd and 1 and they had to punt. I'm talking about dynamic. I'm talking about turnovers. I'm talking about drastic field position changes, etc. There were probably 5 plays that if any of those 5 go the other way, the muff punt, the McCaffrey fumble, etc., any of those go the other way, we might be having a very different conversation about Brock Purdy and his 49ers. The McCaffrey fumble on the opening drive was absolutely one of those. But if you're going to put the ball on the ground to turn around and get me 160 all-purpose yards and a touchdown, that's about as good as you can do to make up for that mistake. So, because of that, I'm going to hand one to Christian McCaffrey.
That is not real.
I think I'm going to make Brock Purdy's honorary. 23 of 58, 255 and a touchdown, a QB rating of 89.3. It wasn't the greatest Super Bowl performance we've ever seen. And certainly with names like Ayuk and Jennings and Samuel and Juszczyk and Mitchell and McCaffrey, yeah, I'd like to see Brock Purdy somewhere up in the neighborhood of like 300. But he hit his over-under mark and did so for a team that ran the ball 31 times. It's about as good as you can ask for up against arguably the best defense in the postseason, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to say Brock Purdy earns an honorary.
That is not real.
Patrick Mahomes, 34-46, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT. By the way, that INT from Patrick was the worst throw he made all season. It was the worst throw he made all season. And he made it in the biggest game, and he opened the door for the 49ers. But I think at that point in the game, because San Francisco had managed an incredible and astounding 10 points, I think at that point in the game, Patrick Mahomes was probably thinking to himself, I can take some risk. I can take some chances. I can maybe go a little above and beyond because San Francisco's offense is not scoring on our defense right now, at least not in a way that creates a situation where I can't play around a little bit. Outside of that, he was good. A QB rating of 99.3. He ran for 66 yards on 9 carries. And once again, he found his dog, Travis Kelce, 9 snags for 93 yards. Now, that's impressive. Maybe more impressive is the fact that 8 different Chiefs ended up catching at least 2 passes in this game. Mahomes was seeing the field. He was spreading the ball out. He was working his primary target, but also making sure that if other guys found space, they were getting the rock as well. Patrick Mahomes.
That is not real.
Catches a T.M.F.I.N.R award for his performance in Super Bowl 58. And I think you've got to give one to Travis Kelce, right? Travis Kelce ended the first half with 1 snag for 1 yard. 1 snag, 1 yard, 1 meltdown on the sideline. And then he came alive. Second half, 8 snags for 92 yards, including one that I thought he was scoring a game winner on. I thought, how apropos that Taylor's boyfriend is going to put this thing away and send the conspiracy theorist into a tizzy. I loved it. Didn't need him to score it. Mecole Hardman picked up the clutch tutty, but Travis Kelce had himself a day. And I'm going to hand out one more T.M.F.I.N.R award. Lonzo, I'm going to give one to Andy Reid. Coaches are people too. The Walrus did something in this game that I very much thought was impressive. A lot of coaches, if Travis Kelce came over and gave him the old WWE, I'm challenging you to an Intercontinental Championship chest bump, would have flipped out, would have lost it, would have let their emotions get the better of them, would have gone after Travis Kelce, maybe benched him, maybe given him a reduced role. What did Andy Reid do? He said, wait a minute. My dude's hot. My dude's hot right now. My dude's heated. My dude is going to go at about 190% for the rest of this game. We got to figure out how to work the ball into 87. And he did. We're going to have a conversation later in the show about head coaches that are talented versus head coaches who have talent, because I think there is a distinction. And I think we had this conversation many times about the hoodie, and I think it's time we have it about Andy Reid as well. But I'm going to tell you why I love Andy Reid, because that dude, in a moment where a lot of coaches, I think, Zoe, would have tried to flex, would have tried to show that this is not my final form and show that they hold the real power on the sideline. My dude instead leaned into Travis Kelce. He said, okay, big dog, you want to come over here and you want to freak out? You want to come over here and bump me? You want to come over and get in my face? Let's give you the chance to put that to use on the field instead of off of it. And what do you know? In the second half after the meltdown, Travis Kelce becomes the leading wide receiver in the Super Bowl, just like Rob Brown told you that he would. You're welcome. Andy Reid.
That is not real.
By the way, already said, yeah, I'm coming back next year. Travis Kelce already said, yeah, I'm coming back next year. Y'all, the Chiefs are going to run it back next year. And they're probably going to be right back into the thick of it. However, not in the Vegas top 3 as Super Bowl favorites. Disrespect!
Definitely disrespect, and we're going to see because they've got some key free agents, especially on defense, and we'll see what they do to keep those guys.
Let's get to college basketball and hand out some T.M.F.I.N.R. awards, shall we? The Gamecocks of South Carolina had one more, let's conservatively call it a tune-up match against the Vanderbilt Commodores before they go on the road to take on the Auburn War Eagle Tigers down in the plains of Opelika, Alabama, coming up this weekend. Look, it was real simple. Win this game, stay inside the top 15, maybe elevate yourself. They did. The AP has named them the number 11 team in America after moving to 21-3. Just get it right, and maybe find out if there's anybody on this team that's not Michi from 3 or BJ on the block that can take over a basketball game. If those guys are, as they have been a couple of times this year, a little bit cold. If those guys are, as they have been sometimes this year, maybe catching extra defenders on the block outside the three-point line, who else can do it? Who else can step into that role? And the answer for South Carolina is Colin Murray Boyles. All my dude did against Vandy was score 31 on 14 of 17 from the floor, 7 boards, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. Turn the ball over 1 time. He gets the starting nod, and he goes out there and has himself a freaking day. And a day where Michi went 3 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 4 from deep, was able to get just 3 boards on a day where BJ Matt turned in an 18-point performance. You needed points from somewhere else, and you got it from Colin Murray Boyles.
That is not real.
What a day for that young man. We mentioned earlier in the show, the Aggies of Texas A&M on Saturday knocked off the Volunteers, handing them loss number 6 on the season. That's a top 16, or shall I say they were a top 16, now just inside the top 10. And a big part of the reason why, how about the effort of Tyrese Radford for Texas A&M? 9 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 7 deep, but he ended up with 27 points, 5 boards, 5 assists to go with it. Tyrese Radford was everywhere on the basketball floor. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I watched a good chunk of this game. This dude is going to have, he did have a performance where the majority of what he did is not showing up on the stat sheet. This is backside help defense. This is shutting down passing lanes. This is forcing point guards to go away from the drawn-up offense. Tyrese Radford was a menace on the floor, and with 27 points was the reason that the Aggies moved to 15-8, 6-4 in the SEC, and are now very firmly in bubble watch time. Tyrese Radford.
That is not real.
Catches a T.M.F.I.N.R. award. How about the North Carolina Tar Heels? 75-72 winners over the Miami Hurricanes. North Carolina was reeling. They had caught another loss from Clemson the other day. Folks were starting to ask questions. So what happened? How about R.J. Davis? R.J. Davis, 6 of 19, 5 of 11 from deep, went to the stripe 8 times, knocked down all 8, 7 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Y'all, there's a lot of potential NBA players on this North Carolina team. And everybody's focused in on Armando Bacot, which they should be. Bacot had a great tournament run last year. Armando Bacot had 10 points. He was 5 of 8, 0 for 1 from deep, 0 for 1 from the stripe. Did have 15 boards, but no assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Armando Bacot's a good player. R.J. Davis is a stud. R.J. Davis.
That is not real.
Catching a T.M.F.I.N.R. award for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I got a couple more. What do you say we stick with college basketball for just one more? The Rock Chalk Kansas Jayhawk. We're taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders yesterday. This one was supposed to be a game that Kansas was going to just carry on some momentum. This was supposed to be a game that the Rock Chalk Jayhawk was going to be feeling good. Instead, they lost by 29 points to the Red Raiders. 29 points, 79-50 was your final, and in large part because of the efforts of one Darian Williams, another guy, if you're not watching, I very much hope you will pay attention for. Lonzo, I'd say this is a good stat line. He had 30 points. He shot 12 of 12 from the floor. He shot 4 of 4 from the three-point line. He shot 2 of 2 from the stripe. He had 11 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block, turned it over just one time. That is a 100% night from Darian Williams. 12 of 12 from the floor, 4 of 4 from the arc, 2 of 2 from the stripe. I don't know what else to say except
that is not real.
As the Red Raiders get the win over the Kansas Rock Chalk Jayhawks. Let's go to the National Basketball Association for just a minute. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks were playing host to the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets 36-18, but struggling on the road, 15-14 away. If a team that's playing 500 ball away from the house comes to your crib, you better get the dub. And the Bucks did. Doc Rivers took over for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it had not gone great. Like, not gone great at all. Until it did. Until Giannis Antetokounmpo decided that's enough. 36 points on 14 of 19 from the floor. Chipped in 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a couple of blocks as well. Just to put that into comparison, Nikola Jokic had 29 points with 12 boards and 8 assists. Giannis went 18 boards and 5 assists, added 36. I know that this one is obvious. I know that you could say this about every game that Giannis plays in, but y'all, this is a Denver team that won the NBA Finals last year. And while their record is not as good as I would like it to be, they've been banged up. They've been dealing with some injuries. I don't care. They're still real good. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That is not real.
And the last one I'm handing out today, unless you guys have any submissions you'd like to get onto the list, let's go to the Charlotte Hornets. They're 12-41. They're 7-21 at home. It's not going great. But into Buzz City comes Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. They're 5 games over 500, but they're 500 on the road, or they were coming into this at 13-13. They walked away 13-14 on the road. Why? Primarily because of the efforts of one Miles Bridges. 20 points, 9 of 17 from the floor, but he also had 10 boards, 7 assists, and 3 steals to go with it. That's a pretty good night overall when you are outgunned, when you're only getting 12 from Brandon Miller, when you're not getting more than 13 from any other starter. Somebody's got to step up and do stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Miles Bridges did.
That is not real.
The Hornets with a 111-102 win over the Indiana Pacers, their 12th win on the season. Feeling good. I'm telling you right now, I said coming into this season that I was optimistic about the Charlotte Hornets. I am optimistic about their future. It was never about this year. This year was about finding the pieces to put around LaMelo, Brandon Miller. Do you guys remember when Brandon Miller got drafted and I showed the video on the stream of Hugo and the Charlotte faithful at the draft party when Brandon Miller got announced and all the heads went down and all the hands went up in the air and there was just an audible sigh out of Charlotte? And I said, hey, Buzz, you're going to regret it, because while this kid's got some off-the-court drama to deal with, he is a freaking baller. And what do you know? Brandon Miller is continuing to show up. The youth movement is alive and well. The old guard of Mitch Kupchak said, yep, I probably need to go ahead and get out of the way. I probably need to step down so somebody can come in here and put fresh eyes on this youth movement. That is happening. I know, optimistic about the future of Charlotte basketball. Weird. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, another head football coach at the college football level is whining and crying and complaining. And once again, I'm freaking tired of it. I'll tell you what they said, why they said it, and why I absolutely do not care.
Personal file. He was giving them the business.
When we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Y'all, it's the Fan Upstate. Happy Mardi Gras.
Very short break.
Very short break.
Only 2 minutes.
Only 2 minutes. That's good. This is going to be a good segment. I'm going to try to make this a good segment.
I mean, you lost your confidence that quick. It's going to be a good segment.
Lonzo, your thought that I have confidence is very appreciated.
You're wearing a cape, dude. How can you not have confidence?
You're wearing a cape, dude. That's true. I am wearing a cape. You're not wrong. Zach said, what are you wearing, Rob? That is a very aggressive outfit. This is about the Maryland head coach. Yes, it is, Zach. Look at you knowing your sports. I love it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Don't like that.
Look at that. She just got out from the white vehicle.
You suck, lady.
That's pretty bad.
And look, doesn't care. Didn't even think twice. Didn't even look down to think like, oh, maybe I'm. Oh. If you park outside of the line, you are selfish. And the number one trait about people I do not like is selfishness.
Look at how much room she gave to that other car next to her to be able to get in and out, though. I mean, you know, she's got all that space.
No. It's not acceptable, not permissible. Mardi Gras Day here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Happy Mardi Gras to y'all. The end of carnival season is upon us. I hope you have a fantastic Mardi Gras Day today. I saw this over the weekend, and I meant to get to it yesterday, but I didn't. So whatever. We're doing it today. Shut up. That's how I operate. Maryland head coach Mike Locksley was on the B. Mitch and Finally show at Radio Row and discussed navigating the current landscape of college football, according to athlonsports.com. And he detailed a story in which he claimed that a third-string Terrapin running back came to him and demanded a $100,000 NIL deal and said, if I don't get $100K in NIL, I'm going to hit the portal. Mike Locksley said it for the first time because of this portal NIL. Your third-team tailback coming in and saying, I need $100,000 or I'm going into the portal. And you're like, where does this magic $100,000 number come from? And it just, I sat in my office and every meeting I had was basically, and we're 7 wins and going to a bowl and taking the next step. But everything coming in was like, I want this, I want that. And the greatest team sport has now become kind of individualized. And I went home and I was like, man, I don't know how much I can do because I'm about ready to come join y'all full time, man. Y'all got room for me back at the studio or what? Mike Let me make this real easy for you, bro. You make from Maryland $6.1 million per year. Yeah, your job's gonna be hard. And I don't feel bad for you in the least. Let me make it even simpler for you. If a tailback, a third string tailback, comes into your office and says $100K or I'm out the door, it's real simple. Hey, bud, you don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. See ya. Get gone. It's real easy. If you don't want that kind of dude, then kick his ass off the team. You're the head coach. That is a power that head coaches have had forever. Hey, man, good luck. Good luck getting $100K. You're the third string running back at Maryland. Not at Texas, not at Alabama, not at Georgia. You're the third string running back at Maryland. If you want $100K, go somewhere and get it.
By the
way, it's real easy.
I appreciate your passion, but I think you missed the story. I think you missed the story completely in this whole thing.
Enlighten me, great one.
He went and asked a coach for the money. Now, my understanding is the coaching staff is not involved with NIL. Apparently, maybe they are in Maryland because he went to the coach to get him his money, not an NIL collective, which is what they're supposed to do, but he went to the coach. So the coach must be involved with the NIL, which he's not supposed to be. And the player knows that. So he went to the coach. He went to the guy who could get him the money, the guy who's involved. That to me is the story.
A coach, just like it is part of the story. It's not, for the record, it is part of the story. It is absolutely not the part I care about. Is it possible?
That's the part I care about because there's rules being broken, apparently.
Oh, no, there's not. Because, and we've had this conversation.
Well, so the coach is okay to be involved in NIL.
A coach can absolutely go, hey, we need NIL money. He can do that. He can say, we need NIL money. We need this much NIL money. We had coaches doing it around the country. They absolutely can do that. The only thing they can't do right now is facilitate the deal. They can't sit down and go, you pay him and you get this money and we're going to do this. But they can absolutely fundraise. Absolutely. But let me make perfectly clear.
You go to the pimp. That's what you do. You don't go. I mean, if you want
as negative light as you want to put it in, it is what it is.
I'm just saying you kind of glossing over the fact that he went to the coach to ask.
I'm not glossing over. I don't care. I don't care about that.
So you don't care that they're breaking a rule?
They're not breaking a rule.
Okay.
We've talked about this. Right. They're not breaking the rule. The coach can go, just like he's always been able to go in front of his booster club and go, in order to operate booster club, we need this much money. This is what we need to operate. He can't get it. He can't do it.
All right. Show me where that happened. Show me where that coach did that.
So I will come back to that because I'm not leaving dunking on Mike Loxley. I'm not leaving it. Okay. You make $6.1 million a year. I don't want to hear you whine that your job's hard because you make $6.1 million a year from the University of Maryland. I don't care. If you don't like that a kid is asking for $100K, then kick his ass off the team and find somebody that fits your role better. It's real simple. This kid was asking for, and I did the math. Now, I'm an idiot, but I did the math. This kid was asking for 0.01% of your salary, 0.01% of what you make annually to play football, to fill a stadium and play football. Now, if you don't want to give it to him, that's fine. That is your decision, my dude. That's absolutely your call. But stop the whining. Stop the complaining. If somebody wanted to give me if someone wanted to give me $6.1 million to, I don't know, do a radio show, I'd never leave the studio. You wouldn't get a word of complaint out of me. I don't care that your job's hard, dog. Of course your job's hard. That's why you get $6.1 million a year to do it. If you don't want the kid to do this, if you think it's a problem, then give him the boot, then give him the boot and recruit better. This is part of recruiting. It is finding us. How many times have we heard Dabo Swinney say, it is not about getting great talent. It's about getting great talent that fits into our program, that blends into the culture that we have here. If the culture that you are trying to build at Maryland is a culture of kids who don't care that much about NIL deals, then go recruit those kids. Go find the kids that are going, Coach, I'm not really worried about money. I just want to play football. I just want to play old school Big Ten football. Go find that kid. Go recruit that kid. Go bring that kid into the equation. But if you're going to recruit kids that understand NIL is part of the game and you don't want them doing that, that's on you, bro. He wanted 0.01, but not 1%, not 10%. 0.01% of what you get paid, and you're going to sit here and go, my job's so hard. Yeah, it's a $6 million a year job, my dude. Most jobs that are worth $6 million a year are hard. That's why you get $6 million a year. I am so freaking tired of rich-ass college football coaches complaining because the job's hard. Then don't do it, dog. Go get a studio job, go be on TV, take 25% of the money you're making now to go sit in a comfy chair and critique what other coaches are doing. I'm tired of the whining and the complaining and the moaning from coaches. My job's hard. Yeah, it is. And it's only going to get harder. And if you don't like it, get the hell out of the way. Because I'll tell you right now, if I'm getting paid $6.1 million a year to coach at Maryland, done. You'll never get a crossword out of me. Third stringer comes to me and goes, Coach, I need $100K to play the game. I'm doing one of two things. I'm either figuring out how to communicate to my collective that I need $100K to keep this kid, or I'm going, hey, I can't get you $100K. Good luck, fella. Or I'm going, bleep you, dog. You're a third string tailback. Hit the bricks. Maybe go play for Georgia. I heard they got that sweet Lamborghini money down there, my guy. Hasta luego, muchacho. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But stop whining about it. It's not going to change. It's not going anywhere. The players have some power. And just because they took it away from you doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Your job's hard. You have 6.1 million reasons to be good at it. Mike, God, I'm tired of the whining. So exhausted by it. Hey, Lonzo, I would like $100,000 to do this job now, please.
Okay, I'm not like the coach. I'm not the pimp. So, I mean, you need to go down the hall.
You are the pimp of sports flashes, bro.
Now to the real story. The most highly sought-after free agent of all time looks ready to play. LA Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani took his first batting practice since his elbow surgery yesterday and put on a show for the assembled media, taking 21 swings and sending 10 baseballs out of the yard. Ohtani said he planned on light BP, but after filling out his swing, decided to turn it up, and that he plans on being ready for opening day. The people say they're tired of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Too bad. The television ratings say they're lying. According to Nielsen, the Chiefs' 25-22 overtime win Sunday night was the most watched Super Bowl of all time. That's like all time, since the beginning of the time. Tune in tomorrow at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. That would be us, the Fan, upstate.
Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center. I'm Chris Pavler on the Fan Upstate.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations. This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine of Brisbane. respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. Abrisco, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrisco if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrisco.com. So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrisco, because every breath matters.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingles, we know that not every Valentine's Day is forced on perfection. String quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money we spend or the elaborate lengths we go to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Getting the biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions. Jackson Hewitt! Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100. Jackson Hewitt! Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required with filing. Applies only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
P Digits, welcome in, big fella. Good to have you.
Where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs. So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sit-a-thon and grab a seat or two. Ends 3-2. In-store only. See associate for details. AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I gotta change the oil in my car. Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic with an STP extended life oil filter for only $36.99. What do I do with my old oil? You can recycle your used oil for free. And do you have oil for my old work truck? You can find the right high mileage oil to help it go farther right here at AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? And you get unlimited 5G data.
Smith and James in the next break.
Smith and James in the next break.
Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely. Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate level pay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3, the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Live on the Philadelphia.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents me to win.
Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
And away we go with the third hour of the radio broadcast. It is the Fan Upstate. It is the Rob Brown Show. How do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America, the world. Happy Mardi Gras Day, y'all. Hope you're ready to celebrate, pass a good time. In New Orleans, you get the day off today. Actually, in New Orleans, you get yesterday and today off, as a matter of fact. I'm just saying we should adopt that nationally, I think.
Someone has to work in New Orleans. Are you saying no one works on those days?
I'm saying Mardi Gras and Monday, Lundi Gras Day, are absolutely holidays in New Orleans. If you get the government holidays off, you get Lundi Gras and Mardi Gras Day off.
There we go. I don't think they shut the town. I'm not trying to be that, but someone has to work. Someone has to work the restaurants. Someone has to work
everybody got to work.
Okay, there you go.
And I'm good with it. By the way, real quick, a couple of texts that have come in. Let me start with this. For the record, and I know it didn't sound like it, I actually really like Mike Locksley. I really like him as the coach at Maryland. They just came off an 8-4 season. They destroyed Auburn in a bowl game. I really like this coach. I like the direction that they are going in. I think the recruiting is as good for the Terps as it's been in a long time. I got a dear friend back in Florida who's a Turtle fan, Fear the Turtle. And he loved Locksley. Moxley. I love Moxley. I love Moxley. We all love Moxley, don't we?
Light him up! Light his ass up!
We all love that guy. I like Mike Locksley a lot. I think he's doing a great job at Maryland. I'm impressed. Maryland is one of those teams that's just always kind of been there. They were just kind of there when they were in the ACC. They're just kind of there in the Big Ten. And all of a sudden, the last couple of seasons, Maryland's been a team that the Penn States and the Michigans and the Ohio States have had to at least pay attention to, which has not been the case in the past. I think he's doing a great job. And I give a lot of credit to what Mike Locksley is doing. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to beat him up a little bit for this. Yes, it stinks. But here's the thing. If guys are transferring out, it means that somebody else figured it out. Here's the thing. 2 running backs came off the roster for Maryland. Antwain Littleton II and Ramon Brown have both left the team. Littleton committed to Temple. Brown is still in the portal. As I've said to and about the players since the NIL and transfer portal era began, with adult opportunity comes adult consequences. You have the right to do and say pretty much whatever you want. As long as you don't directly harm somebody else, you have the right to pretty much do and say whatever you want. But in order to do and say whatever you want, you also have to accept the consequences of doing and saying those things. You have the right to believe that the earth is flat. I have the right to call you an idiot and not talk to you anymore. That's the spectrum. That's the scope we work with. So if it was, hypothetically, one of these 2 cats that told Mike Locksley, I want 100 GR or I'm out. And he said, yeah, we can't get you $100,000 as a 3rd string running back. And then they say I'm out. I'm going to go ahead and guess if it was Littleton, he's not catching $100,000 at Temple. And if it was Brown, nobody's picked him up yet. With the right to hit the portal comes the consequence that A, you end up in a worse situation than you left. And with the right to hit the portal comes the risk that nobody picks you up and now you're not playing college football anymore. I 100% have zero problem with players utilizing the transfer portal. But you are also not going to find me out there weeping on the corner that there are college football kids who hit the portal and don't have anywhere to go. You have the choice, but with the choice comes the consequences. The consequences might be that you think, oh, I'll just head to Georgia or Alabama or Clemson. And all of a sudden, you're at Temple. All due respect to the Temple, whatever they are.
Owls.
Sure. All due respect to the Temple Owls. But I doubt you're catching a 6-figure NIL deal for Temple. But you rolled the dice.
Where is Temple?
New Jersey.
Because I'm thinking location has just as much to do with
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's in Philly.
All right. You might get some money there. You might.
But Temple ain't in Georgia. It ain't Ohio State. It ain't Michigan. It ain't USC. Now, if my dude picked up a 6-figure NIL benefit there, good on you, dog. If you would rather play at Temple for 6 figures than play at Maryland in the Big Ten, good on you. It's your call. It's your life. I fully support your right to make that decision. If you decide to hit the portal and nobody picks you up because, you were a third-string running back at Maryland, and Maryland was willing to keep you, but you decided no, again, that's on you, bro. For the record, I don't just drop elbows on the coaches who are complaining. I will drop them on the players too if they make a dumb decision. And walking up into your coach's office as a third-string a third-string running back. This isn't a cat who brought Maryland to a Big Ten championship as an All-American running back. That guy, I'd go, I get it. I get it. If you're at Ohio State and you're packing 110,000 people into the big house to come watch you play, or into the horseshoe to come watch you play, or wherever you're playing your games.
Yeah, don't do that thing you just did.
I just wanted to see if you were asleep at the wheel. He's not. Got the insta reaction from the great one. If you are doing that at Ohio State and 110,000 are showing up on Saturdays and you've got people donating hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year to your football program, I got precisely and exactly zero problems with you saying, yeah, I'd like a slice of that. I'm the reason they're coming, right? If the entire Ohio State roster said tomorrow, we ain't playing next year, and they fielded an amateur intramural team, I suspect you're not packing 110,000 Buckeye fans into the building to watch them. The players are the reason any of you care. That's a fact. So I got no problem with them asking. But you were the third string running back at a mid-tier university. Him asking for $100K does not mean that he is valued at, nor will he receive $100K. If I was to walk after this show down to the boss's office and go, hey, boss, I'm a 2-time SCBA Sports Talk Radio Show Host of the Year. I'm not. We won Show of the Year, not Show Host of the Year. But if I was to walk down there and say that to him, and then go, I need $250,000 a year to host this show. Do you know what he would say to me? Rob, we don't condone being drunk at work. And clearly you are. Rob, I'm going to need you not to get high before you come down to my office, because clearly you did. Him asking for $100K.
Yeah, you act like you've never been on the music side before. I mean, come on.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
I'd get laughed at. Mike, it'd be real easy to look at that kid and go, yeah, dude, you're not valued at $100K. That's not happening. And if that means you got to hit the portal, thanks for coming to Maryland. Thanks for wearing the logo. Thanks for being a turtle, but good luck in your future endeavors, bro. College football players, I'll step into Lonzo's world for a minute. College football players are glorified employees at this point. The National Labor Relations Board has deemed it thus. Some appeals that are going to play out, but let's just say that stands. They're employees now, which means they come with all the realities of being an employee. You know why one of the biggest fears of Americans is asking for a raise at work? Because all of us are afraid that if you ask for a raise at work, your boss is going to say, not just no, but hell no, get out. You don't work here at all anymore. Now, you can't do that in every state, but you get the point. Mike, if the kid walks into your office and said, I want $100,000, and he's not worth $100,000, then tell him no. You're the boss. You make $6.1 million a year. With that comes some tough responsibilities. The people on the other side of this building who make a lot more money than I do to run the radio station, they also have to do things that ick me out to my core. I do not want to live in a world where I got to bring in a dude that I like and go, hey, man, real sorry, but you don't work here anymore. We got to go our separate ways. I don't want to do that. That's why I don't make that money.
Could you stop talking? I mean, you're starting to make me nervous over here about,
You talk about you're executive producer.
Yeah.
You're a manager.
Yeah. So
that's why you make the big bucks.
Yeah.
Point here is
we're both getting that text here in a minute. I'm going to blame you.
Oh, wait, a text just popped up. Okay, it's not him. Good. We're good. We're clean. We're good. We're clear. Point here is I'm exhausted of these whiny ass coaches. I really am. I'm exhausted by it. I'm over it. I'm so done with it. I don't care. I don't care. If you are making $6.1 million a year, yeah, you're going to have some tough conversations you've got to have. You know what the compensation for that is? $6.1 million a year. I don't want to fire anybody, but if I was getting paid $6.1 million a year, I'd fire my mom. No question. Sorry, Rhonda, I love you, but you got to go. Here's a severance check. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Listen, that's what delegation is for. You have someone else fire your mom. That way you don't do it yourself.
The point here is, if a dude wants $100K and you're going, we can't come up with that, then tell him that. Hey, man, I'm sorry. That's not a reality. It's not happening here. If you want that, you're going to have to go somewhere that A will have you and B can pay you that. But it's not us. And if it is a reality, then seems to me like you want to put in the legwork to find out how to make that happen. If this guy is that valuable to your program. But what you're actually doing when you say, the greatest team sport is now an individual sport, what you're actually saying is, yeah, I don't really want to do that legwork. I don't really want to do the part that makes my guys happy. I got news for you. A team is made up of individuals. Every team that's ever existed, whether it's 2 or 150, is made up of individuals. And part of your job as the coach is to figure out how it is that you can make everybody as happy as they can be so that they participate towards being the greatest team in the greatest team sport. I agree with that. It is the greatest team sport. No questions. I actually think basketball is, but that's a different topic. Point here is it is a great team sport. And part of your job as the head coach, the leader of that team, is to make everybody happy. And do you know sometimes what it takes to make 149 happy is to get rid of the guy that impacts their happiness. If there's a guy creating a problem, sometimes the best thing for the team is to get rid of the guy that's causing the issue. Ain't that right, Kadarius Toney? Sometimes your job is to root out the problem and to move on from the problem. And that might be a tough thing to do. It's tough work. Again, you make $6.1 million a year. I don't feel bad for you. I don't. My job's so tough. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Of course it's tough. You're coaching football at a major D1 university that pulls in tens of thousands of people to come watch you do your job. So maybe recognize the spot that you're in, because I know a lot of guys in the coaching world at levels ranging from assistant coach at high school all the way up to D2 head coaches that would kill to make $6.1 million a year coaching football. That would kill to be where you are living that dream. If it makes you unhappy, then go do something else. But stop the whining. You are one of the most powerful people in the sport. Just because your job's hard gets you exactly and precisely zero sympathy from me. None. Not 9. Couple of texts that have come in so far. Texter said, my dear old daddy used to say there's no I in team, but there is an M and an E. One of my favorite stories ever. Shaquille O'Neal told it at, I think it was Kobe's Hall of Fame induction. But he said, Kobe once looked at me. We were having a conversation, and Kobe had a 60-point day. And I said to Kobe, hey, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, yeah, but there's an M-E in that. Sometimes you've got to recognize that what makes a team great individuals. Hey, Lonzo, are the Kansas City Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes? No. Do you think Andy Reid caters to Patrick Mahomes? You're damn right he does. I've told you guys forever, Bill Belichick was not a great coach. He was a great personnel manager. Bill Belichick was not a great X's and O's guy. Bill Belichick was great at looking at the locker room and telling 80 guys, whatever we need to make 12 great, that's what we're going to do, because that guy's carrying us. And there were a lot of players who came to New England who went, it's got to be about me, coach. And Bill went, no, bro. It's about 12. It's about the GOAT. And if you weren't down with making it about 12, you got gone. And Bill built a dynasty by doing that. The opposite's true, too, sometimes. Sometimes you got to look at a guy who wants $100,000 to be the third string running back at a mid-Big Ten university and say, bye. You got to go. That ain't going to fly here, my guy. You're out. Texture says, can we talk about why the hell Maryland's coach is making $6 million a year? What the heck? Because, again, football's kind of a big deal in America. That is why 98 of the 100 most watched television programs of 2023 were football games. 97 of them NFL games won the national championship game. That's how we prioritize America. I saw somebody hit me up on Twitter when I talked about this over the weekend on the social media. Somebody hit me up and they were like, Rob, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of kids asking for six figures when this guy's poured his life into coaching to get where he is. Well, look, I promise you, if tomorrow, let's say hypothetically, tomorrow, Ryan Day and Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell and Dabo Sweeney said, we're gonna host an open forum. We're gonna do it at the home of the national champs. We're gonna do it at the Big House. Do you think they're packing 110,000 rowdy, screaming fans in there at north of $120 a ticket to watch it? Maybe, but probably not. But tomorrow, if I took any two of those four teams and played a football game, that stadium's packed to the rafters, standing room only at $1.50 a ticket. That's why these kids want it. And they're not wrong for doing it. Well, Mike had to work hard. Yeah, I got to tell you, I've been in this game 17 years. Well, 16. This year is my 17th year in the game. And do you know what I'm not doing? Making $6.1 million. Why? Because there's nothing I'm doing that's filling up a 110,000 person stadium. There's just not. That's why. Let's see. Texture says, slightly related, the Tennessee Volunteers pulled in $3 million last year in alcohol sales for football alone. Maybe if Clemson would start selling booze, they'd be in the budget contest. I lost the second half of your text. That's about what he said. Hey, man, different strokes for different folks. If you want to sell the booze, there's $3 million on the table. If you don't, because it's against your values or whatever, that's your call as a school. And people can decide if they want to come to your games or not. Whatever. Texture said Rob Brown is an equal opportunity elbow dropper. For sure. With adult choices come adult consequences. I have the right to say some dirty words on the show. There are some people who don't want me to and some that love it. And the consequence is there are going to be some people who go, I'm not listening to that guy's show because he says bad words. And it's a choice. It's a consequence. And there are some people that are going to go, I'm not listening to Rob Brown be squeaky clean. It's a choice and there are consequences. This guy had the right to walk into his coach's office and say, I want $100K. Just like Michael Oxley has the option to go, yeah, no, bye. You're not a Terp anymore. You're not a turtle. You're out. Goodbye. See ya. Adios. Bye, Felicia. Get gone. Peace. Deuces. All right, I had to do that. And then somebody pointed out that I got the math wrong. Shocking. I know. That's why I'm a words guy. Hey, here's some words. It's time for a break. The Rob Brown Show continues after this on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more live read, and then we're coming right back. Y'all stay right there. right, dudes and dudettes, we're back. Thanks for hanging in there. I am the Cajun Killer. It's my new gimmick. No, it's Mardi Gras Day, baby. Hey, yeah, you can say whatever you want, as long as it didn't hurt anyone. When I say hurt, and by the way, hurting someone is subjective.
Yeah, Rob hurts me all the time and he gets paid to do it.
Yeah. People call me an idiot. Do you understand how many texts a day I get calling me an idiot? And yet, I keep showing up the next day for more. So either A, it doesn't bother me, or B, I'm a masochist, or some combination of the two.
That's the one.
I'm going to call someone an idiot if they're being an idiot. And people call me idiots literally daily. I understand every time I open my mouth and speak into this mic that there are consequences for doing so.
Speaking of speaking, Samuel L. Jackson is speaking out again, saying Mace Windu is alive and needs his own series.
I accept.
As do I.
Here's the problem. You know what I want? I want a Mace Windu. How did Mace Windu become Mace Windu? The single most aggressive Jedi, one of the only true Jedi known to tap into the dark side for combat. I want to know how he got there without succumbing to the dark side.
You can't do a prequel. Well, I guess you can with the face thing.
Yep.
But that's.
Or you just find here's the thing. Does Samuel L. Jackson say he wants to be Mace Windu? Or do you say Mace Windu needs a series?
I want him living on Dagobah.
Let's do two series. Let's do a simultaneous old and young Mace Windu series. Let's do them both at the same time. All right, I'm going to get away from this, but we'll do a little short segment where I can address a couple of things that got said during the break. Jeff R. texted the show. And Jeff said, when is college football going to get a salary cap? There's actually an answer for that, Jeff. You may not like it, but there is an answer. The answer for that is when you allow the players to unionize, when you allow the players to bargain collectively, and when you allow colleges as a group to sign collective bargaining agreements with the players. The salary caps in the MLB and the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball, salary caps are negotiated with the players. The leagues say, we want to cap it off at this number. And we want to cap it off at this number. And in order to cap it off at this, in order to put a cap, baseball players, football players, basketball players, whatever, those players have to say, we understand that the amount of money that we can earn is limited. The numbers on the contract that we can accept are limited because you can't hand out unlimited money. Once you hit the cap, you're done, except in baseball where there's a luxury tax, and that's on the owners to decide to pay. The majority of them don't want to do that. So the players collectively bargain and say, we'll tell you what, we will accept you not paying us more than X million dollars per team, but in return, we want this, and this. They get concessions in return. So it might be that the league establishes and pays into a retirement fund that players can draw from, or they might give certain different insurance benefits for retirement that you wouldn't otherwise get, or they get this, that, and the other in terms of other ways for financial compensation aside from their base contract. That's where caps come from. So there absolutely can be an NIL cap in college football. But if you want the NIL cap, there is one requirement, Jeff. You allow the players to unionize and you allow them to hire, and they will hire big-time lawyers who are going to come in and they are going to negotiate. And you will have to come up with a collective bargaining agreement that says players can't receive more than X million dollars a year, or teams can't pay out more than X million dollars a year. But in return for that, we are going to give the players these concessions. We're going to give you X% of the gate for every game will be spread between all the players. Oh, and by the way, I'm not just talking about the football players. Title IX is still a thing. We talked about that Project D1 that Charlie Baker put on the table. Part of the reason that did not fly to approval, I suspect, part of the reason that did not fly to approval is because of Title IX. It's because 50% of the players that catch these D1 trust funds have to be female athletes, have to be women. So there's a lot of spots, and this is something I absolutely will agree that a lot of colleges are struggling with. How do you keep it level across the board when you are lucky as a school, fortunate as a school, to have two teams that bring in money? You're fortunate if you have two. You're fortunate if your football and your basketball team bring in money. For the overwhelming majority of schools, it's just football. And for a huge chunk of schools, there are no revenue-generating sports. Now, some kids on non-revenue-generating sports are still going to catch NIL deals. You're going to go, wait a minute, that's not fair. The basketball team is losing money to provide a team for these kids to play for, sure. But if guys are coming to games, they're coming to watch the players. They're not coming to watch the team. I mean, they'll come watch the team, but they're watching the team comprise the players. So there's your answer, Jeff. When is college football going to get a salary cap? When you allow the players to unionize, when you allow the players to collectively bargain, and you figure out how you're going to sign a collective bargaining agreement with the athletes that includes all of the athletes. That includes the women's tennis team and field hockey team. That includes the men's cross country and swimming and diving teams. Listen, I am not, never have, won't, shan't, can't argue that this is not very hostile terrain. I cannot argue that this is not very hostile terrain. It is. It is going to be wildly difficult to negotiate, for sure. But it is going to have to be negotiated. That just is what it is. It has to be negotiated if you want to get there. Trey popped up on the stream chat. You can watch the stream live all 4 hours every single day at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to The Fan Upstate on YouTube or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Nailed it. Trey said, quote. I'll slow down, man. Catch your breath, Rob. I'm heated. What do you want? Rob just made a hypocritical statement. He said, you can say whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt someone, end quote. A moment later, he is willing to call someone an idiot. Let me respond to that, Trey, and do so lovingly and respectfully. What I said was, you can say or do whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt someone. Implied as directly. I can't walk over and punch Lonzo in the face. I can call him an idiot, but there are consequences that come with that. Like, for instance, Lonzo walking over here and punching me in the face. All right, that's not true.
No, it's first of all,
it is true.
You wouldn't punch me in the face because I'm too elusive. Second of all,
why is it you're the superior athlete, but I'm just like a dope who would miss a punch?
No, that's not it. You're just
too quick for me.
You telegraph.
You've never seen me punch anybody, maybe because I've never punched anybody.
And Dan Severn and I understand that I used to be a wrestler.
I used to work with Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah,
dog.
I know. I'll follow your hips.
Throw these hands, dog.
Because where your hips go, you go.
No,
I will say, yeah, where your hips go, you go. So when you do your punch, it's going to be overextended. It's going to be over the top. I'm going to grab your hand. I'm going to fireman's carry you into the wall while you're dealing with the rug burn on your forehead. I'm going to laugh at you, step over you, and go to the bathroom.
The jab's quick.
Then when I come back, I expect you to be back in your chair.
The jab's quick. Got to work that jab. I learned that from Roy. Got to work that jab. Poof.
Yeah, you're exhausted from doing the handwork right now.
Tell me, I still got it. All right, so Trey, let me respond to that. You have the freedom of speech. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of all of our favorite things, I think, which means that you are allowed to pretty much, not exclusively, not entirely, but pretty much say whatever you want, including some people who take advantage of that to say some very hateful things. What you are not free from are societal consequences, right? This is what a lot of people moan and complain about is being canceled. You're not canceled. It's just that a large chunk of society kind of thinks you're a jerk and doesn't want to talk to you anymore. Societal consequences are real. Like, for instance, if you're a college football coach and you whine and complain that a third-string running back asks for $100,000 and some radio goober down in South Carolina says, hey, maybe quit your whining. Maybe quit your complaining and your, as my grandma would say it, your belly aching. Quit your belly aching. He has the right to complain about his job. I have the right to say complaining about your job when you make $6.1 million a year is... And I don't want to hear it. I just don't. I promise you, Mike Loxley is not concerned that I said, hey, Mike, stop complaining, okay? He doesn't care. I, Trey, every single day get text calling me an idiot. Every single day I get people writing into the station going, this guy sucks. This guy's dumb. Get him off the radio. I don't want to hear this guy anymore. Every single day. And that's not an exaggeration. Every day I get a text or an email.
There are days where you might deserve it. I mean, because we all do.
Lonzo, I promise you, nobody has called me an idiot more than I have called myself an idiot. I've called myself an idiot on the text line 3 times today. I am an idiot. I acknowledge I'm an idiot. People can call me an idiot all they want because so far, every day I've showed up here, my key fob has opened the door. My metal key has opened the Fortress of Nerditude. And at 6 a.m., Lonzo pushes the red button that turns this on, and I keep getting paid for it. Now, there is absolutely a way that Rob Brown could say something on the microphone that gets me fired or canceled or whatever you want to call it. And I understand that that is a real-life consequence. So what do? I sit here and everything I'm going to say, most of the things I'm going to say, some of the things I'm going to say, I think about them. I think about, all right, I'm going to say if I say it this way, some people might take it that way. And if I say it that way, some people might take it this way. And I might offend these people and I might upset these people and I might set them off and these people might support me and whatever. All of these things are thought about most of the time before I open my big dumb mouth and say them on the radio.
You got to leave room for spontaneity, though. You got to say some dumb things here and there. I mean, because that's fun.
My show prep, if you look at it, is bullet pointed. It's not scripted.
Say, good luck looking at it and figuring that out.
It's chaos. But it's bullet pointed, organized chaos. Because, yes, I know what I was going to say about Mike Loxley. What I wasn't going to do is script it out so that you guys can tell he's reading a take. Those are my thoughts. I had those thoughts this weekend. Those thoughts were prepped and ready for the show, just not scripted out. But I knew what I was going to say. And I knew that, and I know that now. There are going to be some of you guys who think I'm an idiot for this take, who go, Rob, I got Mike Loxley's back, and that's fine. This is a forum for conversation, not a platform for monologue. That's why I say all the time, the renewal by Anderson to the Carolina fan phone is 844-326-3663. Call in and be on the show. The text line is 71307. Text into the show. Start your text with fan, and I'll read them on the air. It is a forum for conversation, not a platform for monologuing. Okay? I do not, respectfully to the godfather of sports talk radio, do not subscribe to the theory of more of me and less of you is good. No, more of you is good. Conversation is good. And sometimes those conversations are debates. I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with this. I considered that before I said it. But that's my take, and that's what I'm standing on right now. You can say whatever you want, but you have to recognize there are consequences. Sometimes legal, majoritively societal. You can be canned. You can be canceled, air quotes. But cancel just means, yeah, I don't like you more than I dislike your opinion, your thought, your belief. And so I don't want anything to do with you. That's how the game gets played. So that's where I stand. That's where I'll wrap this up. That's where I'll end this. Hey, the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone's open, 844-326-3663. The text line's open, 71307. Start your text with FAN FAM. We'll read them on the air. Texas said, your theory sounds great, but set any limits you want. Schools are going to pay more under the table than the cap. It solves nothing. I don't have an issue with that. Guys, again, how many times have I said players have always gotten paid? It was just always under the table. Now it's above board, and you just don't like it because it's not in favor of the schools anymore. That's where most of y'all's problem comes from. Texas said, I missed the show yesterday, so if you covered it, I apologize, but I want to congratulate my brother and nickname, Steve Mongo McMichael, on a much-deserved inclusion to the Hall of Fame. Woo! The Four Horsemen, baby. Let's take a break. We come back. We wrap up hour number 3 after this. Rob Lonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. That's an aggressive bumper.
It's a liner, but, you know.
That is an aggressive liner. Bumper's music.
That's what I was always taught. But the boss says they're bumpers, but the boss is wrong.
That one? And he says that's a bumper?
A liner, they call them bumpers, even though they're liners. Bumpers are music. By the way, Steven, you're right. When you make people mad like I do, you always think of what you're going to do when they finally crack and how you're going to handle it. Plus, as a former high school wrestler, you got to think 3 moves ahead. When he does this, I'm going to do this. If he reacts this way, I'm going to do that. Doesn't mean physically I can still do that, but my brain still works that way. And there's only one person in this building that I'd be worried about. Doesn't mean I wouldn't take a beating, but I wouldn't be scared. There's only one person I'd be scared of. Because technically there's only one person in this building larger than me. And I think he's oddly quick. No, that would be another guy who I still think about. Keegan. Don't have to worry about it because he says he's going to fight me. He'll say he'll get back to it, and I know he won't. So we're good.
I don't want to fight anybody. I'm a pacifist. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah. You know, pacifists don't raise their voices.
That's not true.
In anger. Oh, it is true.
That's absolutely not true.
Yeah, I think that's the definition of being a pacifist.
No, it's
It'd be
not.
like, yeah, you're okay. You're all right. Yeah, you know what? I guess I was wrong. And can't we just peacefully find a way? No, a pacifist cannot raise their voice. It goes against pacifism.
All I'm asking is to give peace a chance. Oh, baby.
So Resident Evil 3 just dropped on Game Pass. I have never played a Resident Evil game before because horror games just don't do anything for me because they give you less weapons and you're put in a position where it's really hard for you to succeed.
So really for you just want games where you can beat up on things.
No, I just want a chance. That's all. And I guess you have a chance in those games, but
there's very few games where you don't have a chance. I will say, we talked about this before.
So have you played like the Elden Ring and games like that?
I played Elden Ring for 2 hours, and I was like, screw this.
Those are games where you technically don't have a chance.
I was like, screw this.
And I beat that a couple times, and I beat games like that, but there are patterns to it to a degree. I don't know if there are in Resident Evil. Maybe there are.
We were talking before the show. There is a Jurassic Park horror survival game coming out that is set on Isla Nublar, which is it's in the original Jurassic Park, the original movie park.
They spared no expense
with the original dinosaurs. And despite the fact that I know it is going to be jump scare city, I'm going to play the hell out of that game.
See, I'm not even worried about the jump scares because I've played a bunch of games with jump scares. I don't know. I probably will give it a chance though, because I'm in between games right now where I've got some other games I could beat again, but I just want to put them on the side for a while. I was kind of waiting for Dragon's Dogma 2, which I think comes out at the end of this month.
Oh, you'll appreciate this. I was talking with one of the guys from the Rabbits the other day. Do you know what game has swept over the Bunnies locker room? A bunch of tough pro hockey players. You know what game they're all in love with?
Probably Pow World.
Freaking Pow World.
Yeah, I stopped.
They are all about it.
I got bored with it after a while. Cameron's already built a castle. I mean, I just got bored with it.
Yeah, baby. Mardi Gras Day. Welcome in, y'all. We passing a good time here on the Rob Brown Show. And the fan upstate, Mon Ami. I am Rob Brown, the group Lonzo on the ones and twos. Texter says, I don't like it because it is cheating. And I detest cheating. See asterisk Michigan. I like it. I like it. Hey, again, feel how you want to feel. Mike can feel the way he wants to feel. I'm just telling you. Not a good way to be a successful head coach, in my opinion. Texter said people are stupid. You just got to be true to yourself and expect people to get mad because there's always going to be somebody that's offended, especially in this Gen Z TikTok, let's go Brandon generation.
People are people, so why should it?
Listen, all I'm just asking.
Are getting, so awfully, and I just don't. Why? I mean, we should all get along and be nice to everyone. And
can't we all just get along?
Can you imagine a pacifist radio show? Wow.
Nope. Sure can't.
I don't even think NPR is pacifist. I mean, they're aggressive with low toned voices.
The National Football League is spinning more international games out. We know that Sao Paulo, Brasilia will host the first game of the season, a Friday night contest between the Philadelphia Eagles and vacant right now. We don't know who Philly's going to be playing. We'll find out down the road a little bit. So Sao Paulo getting added to the mix. Now we know that España will be playing host to some games. The league announced last weekend at the site of the Super Bowl that its international slate of games for the 2025 season will feature a game at Real Madrid's iconic Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. Peter O'Reilly, the head of NFL's international affairs, said, quote, "We could not be more excited to bring the best of the NFL, the best of our teams and star players to the more than 13 million passionate fans in Spain and partner with one of the greatest global soccer clubs in Real Madrid in a truly world-class and innovative stadium," end quote. The teams that will play in that game will be announced at a later date. O'Reilly said the host teams would likely be from the AFC because the teams in that conference catch the extra home games this year. O'Reilly said plenty of teams have already expressed interest. One of the players who has openly said they would like to play some international games, Kansas City Chiefs star tight end Travis Kelce, said about playing in Germany, London, and Mexico City, quote, "That would be epic. It would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to go talk to Clark Hunt right now and get that bid in. Any chance we get to go out of the States and play internationally, you would be silly not to jump at that opportunity. The fan bases are every bit as electric, if not more, outside of the United States. If the Chiefs get out there to Spain, we'll make sure to have some fun."
Yeah, Taylor's going to be in Spain this week, so we should play in Spain this week. She's going to be in Germany next week. Let's just go ahead and play in Germany next week. That has nothing to do with his thinking, I'm sure.
We know that London has 3 games this year, including a home game for the Jags, along with one in Germany and the first ever game in Brasilia. We also know they have hosted games in Mexico City. They expect to return there in 2026. The only reason they're not playing this year is because Mexico is hosting the World Cup this year alongside the United States and Canada.
What's
and
that?
is pouring all their resources into that.
World Cup, what's that?
The largest competitive sporting event on planet Earth.
Are we competitive at that?
Greg Berhalter's back, so probably not. Fingers crossed he just shocks the world, but I'm not banking on it at all.
If he and Vinovich walked into a bar.
Yes, catching hands, both of them, same time. Same time. They can team up. I will handicap match the hell out of that. Bill Vinovich, Greg Berhalter.
Line him up! Line his ass up!
Catch these hands. I'm not even mad at Greg. I get Greg. Like, if you get the opportunity and they want to sign you to a contract, you take the job. I am mad at everybody else in the United States Soccer Federation who let his contract expire, hired a search firm, went through the process, talked to some of the biggest names on planet Earth in this sport, and then decided, let's go back to the guy that's failed miserably at this exact job already.
Wait, did the firm pick him? The firm that took it?
I don't know.
What if the firm?
I don't know.
That's still awesome. That will never. That's still better than the other one for
It's
sure.
real good. It's real good.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
See that one. That's not real. There's there's no way someone really did that
You know my
in
favorite
real
part
life.
about that? I cut about 7 seconds out of that when I put it together. That is how. Do you remember the context of that quote? That is Garrett Cole, pitcher of the New York Yankees.
That's something to do with cheating, right?
When the sticky stuff ban went into effect and Garrett Cole was accused of it, the sticky stuff ban went into effect, and all of a sudden Garrett Cole sucked for a minute, and everybody was like, "Yo, Garrett, did you use the stuff?"
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that.
Just say yes and save us all 30 seconds, Garrett. Just own it. Because that was saying yes. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we got 1 hour of the 4-hour sports talk entertainment extravaganza that we call the Rob Brown Show. A few more thoughts on the Super Bowl in the 2024 season upcoming. ESPN has released their preseason power rankings. Where do the Panthers sit? Where do the Saints sit? Where do the Falcons and the Buccaneers sit before the draft? And where might they sit afterwards? We'll answer that when we come back. Where does Lonzo sit in that chair doing the Sports Flash?
It's a wide seat. It's really warm right now. The next big milestone in the NFL is the combine and the draft. The Steelers and Patriots both hit the news yesterday. Pittsburgh released 3 players, including quarterback Mitch Trubisky, with Mason Rudolph scheduled to become a free agent. The only quarterback on the roster is Kenny Pickett, leading some to believe Pittsburgh may draft a quarterback. A team possibly not looking at quarterback is New England, reportedly considering trading down from the number 3 overall spot and addressing QB through free agency. The Vikings and Falcons are both reportedly interested in trading up to that spot. The most highly sought after free agent of all time looks ready to play. LA Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani took his first batting practice since his elbow surgery yesterday and looked good. Tune in tomorrow, 6:30, as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, The Fan, Upstate. Oops, I left that in now.
Northbound I-85 heading out of Greenville up into Spartanburg, moving to posted speeds with no problems reported. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Chris Babbler on The Fan, Upstate.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned a
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine of Respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. A vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get a Briscoe.
Keep in mind, James, there are no topic switches on the stream. You can pretty much talk or ask whatever you want. That's why we leave it on there. I'm just not talking as much right now because of moles.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and maybe even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Providers.
Deadpool, yes. Wicked, not really. Deadpool's going to be what Deadpool always is, extremely raunchy, to the point that makes some of us uncomfortable, but that's the point of that one. Wicked, I'm just, like, okay, fine. I hear it did well on Broadway.
I've never seen Wicked play or anything else. All I know is all the women in my life were big fans. My mom loved it. Courtney loved it. Hilariously, about, 10 years ago, my mom, not 10, like 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember how long. My mom
7 years ago.
Some amount of years ago. My mom lived in Asheville, and Wicked was here at the Peace Theater.
Peace Center.
What?
It's Peace Center.
Peace Center.
Theater.
Peace Center.
I'm not crying. I'm just trying to help.
Peace Place.
Yeah.
She came down from Asheville to watch it, and we found out like a year and a half ago that Courtney was at the same show. So my mom and Courtney were actually in the same room years before I met her. Courtney was like meh about Wicked, but it's more because she's not a big Ariana Grande fan. I think Ariana Grande can freaking sing.
By the way, if Ariana Grande was in the movie, I might actually watch the movie.
She is.
Is she?
She's Glenda.
Is she?
Yeah,
it didn't look like her.
She's blonde.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ariana Grande.
I thought she was a little bit heavier than.
She's a little bitty thing. Yeah, she's in there.
No, I meant in the trailer. I thought she was a little bit.
She's Glenda the Good Witch.
Okay.
She's the blonde one. So she's like, I'll go see it if you want to go see it. I'll probably go see it.
Yeah, I agree, Keegan. I hate that. Watch the full trailer online. It's like, we waited to see the full trailer during the Super Bowl. It costs more, I know.
Keegan, I would say as a marketing guy, it was a brilliant move. They played it before kickoff. Why? Because every one of us in the party we were at immediately grabbed our phones and went to YouTube to watch it.
See, I didn't. I waited till the next morning. But
I immediately
because I know what to expect. And plus I've been reading all this stuff. Talking about Deadpool. I've been reading a ton about it and all the different people that are supposed to be in it and all that kind of stuff. Which I don't think there's any real spoilers about Deadpool. He's going to break the fourth wall. He's going to bring it. I mean, he like killed all his characters at the end of the last one.
Awesome.
I mean, Yeah, I know that was a spoiler, but the movie was out like 7 years ago or something.
Oh, I've heard the girl be a quarter step flat. Oh yeah, Joey B. We were there. We all were like, little pitchy, dog. Little pitchy. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final 60 minutes of the Rob Brown Radio program starts right now. Welcome back. Great to have you. Happy Fat Tuesday to all y'all. Happy Mardi Gras to your mom and them. Happy Mardi Gras to y'all. Hope you have a great Mardi Gras day, a great Fat Tuesday.
By the way, don't say happy Fat Tuesday to anyone, because unless you make sure you put it's Mardi Gras Happy Fat Tuesday, because that could lead to pain in your face. That's all I'm saying.
Happy Sturdy Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras Day to all y'all as the carnival season comes to its conclusion today. The 40 days of lentil sacrifice beginning tomorrow for those who observe.
Lentil.
When
I think lentil,
not eating lentils.
Okay,
lentil as in lent.
all right, because I never heard it said that way, and I'm thinking, okay, all right.
I don't know that I've ever had a lentil.
You probably have. I think there are lentils in like 15 bean soup and things like that. They're like
had a lot of bean soup.
They're like hard bean that you have to let soak overnight before you cook, that type of thing.
See, I'm a big. It's a legume, by the way. Legume. An annual plant known for its lens-shaped seeds. It is about 40 centimeters tall, and the seeds grow in pods. And now you know things about lentils that some of you may have known that before today, but for most of us, I don't think we did. Happy lentil day.
That's useful knowledge for someone, and thank you on their behalf.
So what it's honestly, it's what I'm here for. We have got a lot to get to in the final 60 of the show. We talked about this earlier in the day. I'm going to bring it back up here because I want to, and I can. This is, according to some, a very quarterback-heavy draft. You obviously have a number of quarterbacks that are considered first-round guys. You've got Drake May out of the University of North Carolina. You've got Caleb Williams out of Southern Cal. You've got Michael Penix Jr. coming in from Washington after an appearance in the national championship game. And you've got a guy that is, speaking of Joey B, I told him this at the party the other day. The last guy that I labeled can't miss. This guy is going to be a superstar. The last guy that I said that about was Lamar Jackson. I watched Lamar Jackson up close and personal when he played for the Louisville Cardinal. That dude was good, like real good. I got the same feeling about Jaden Daniels out of LSU. I have not done it since Lamar. I'm going to do it here. Jaden Daniels is a can't miss prospect. Jaden Daniels is going to be a stud in the National Football League.
So he's going to be CJ Stroud.
I will argue that he is going to have a rookie year that is comparable. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right.
He is going to be better than Anthony Richardson was. He is going to be, you know what he's going to be?
Well, all fairness to Anthony Richardson, he got hurt. So, he could.
Was having a good run.
Yeah.
In fact, I would go so far as to say that I think that if Anthony Richardson doesn't get hurt, I'm not confident CJ Stroud wins the division. I mean that. Because it was a horse race with Gardner Minshew quarterbacking the Colts. I think if Anthony Richardson, the way he was playing, stays healthy, I think the Colts might win that division. CJ Stroud deserves a hell of a lot of credit for what he did this year, winning the division. But a lot of the reason he won the division was because the Jaguars absolutely choked. The Titans were an abomination unto the football gods. And the Colts lost Anthony Richardson. Still won the division. You still got to go out there and win games to win a division, even a bad one. Ain't that right, New Orleans? And he did. But I think if AR doesn't get hurt, I don't know that CJ Stroud wins the division. I think it probably would have been a contest down to week 17. I'm just saying I wouldn't have bet on it. Now, yes, I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a rookie season that is very much comparable to what CJ Stroud did in year one. I absolutely and firmly believe that. So, here's why that is interesting and why I bring that up. Right now, the number 3 team in the NFL draft order is the New England Patriots. The Patriots currently have on their quarterback roster Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Mac Jones has apparently all but worn out his welcome in New England. They are not big fans right now. In fact, there have been multiple reporters who have said that New England Patriots players off the record have told them Mac Jones has basically graded the locker room as a whole the wrong way. The Patriots tried Bailey Zappi this year. Maybe the greatest quarterback name in the NFL, but he did not step in and Tom Brady his way to greatness. Had an opportunity, just wasn't that guy. Okay, and that's okay. Most NFL quarterbacks ain't that guy. New England needs a quarterback. But even without the hoodie, it appears that they are going to maintain the Belichickian strategy of hoarding draft picks. Like a dragon on a pile of gold, they would rather have all the picks than the players. So apparently, the New England Patriots are looking to trade down from number 3.
So our buddy Diddy just texted us, and he is kind of hoping or is of the opinion that maybe they get Kirk Cousins and then draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
I don't hate that. He said, and then sign Kirk Cousins, which is interesting because the belief right now as to the reason that the Pats are looking trading out of 3 is because they believe they can at least put a stopgap on the quarterback position by going with a veteran free agent. Now, I'm also glad you brought up Kirk Cousins because the Minnesota Vikings are one of 2 teams that have already been connected to at least being interested in speaking with the Patriots about that number 3 draft pick. The other team is the Atlanta Falcons. Minnesota and Atlanta have both, apparently, at least kickstarted the conversation with New England about moving into the 3 spot. I'm honestly good with either team. Now, if I'm a Jaden Daniels fan, I prefer Minnesota by a billion miles. I prefer Minnesota by a billion miles. And I prefer Minnesota by a billion miles for a number of reasons. Number 1, wide receiver core is very good in Minnesota. It's also very good in Atlanta. The difference is I don't think that Minnesota has the plan of sign a guy and then throw him into the crucible. I think the plan at Minnesota is to bring Kirk Cousins back for one more year. I think the plan is to bring Kirk Cousins back, to have him go for a year, and to have him mentor and tutor a rookie QB who is next in line. And I could be wrong about this. I don't know the guy personally. But if there is a quarterback right now that is starting, Zoe, that you think would be willing to play the role of mentor, knowing that the guy that he is mentoring, his mentoree, will eventually be his replacement, I think Kirk Cousins is on that list.
I think he will do that with class, but at the same time,
He might hate it.
yeah.
He might hate it. I'm not arguing he's not going to hate it, but I think he would do it.
Because even though he wears Cole's clothes, he still has a little bit of an edge underneath.
For the record.
Every once in a while, he bring it out.
Cole's is great. Right? Cole's is great. It's a great story.
If you don't want edge, yeah.
I mean, you know me, edgy AF, bro.
Yeah. But if you like those Cole's Bucks or whatever that is. Cash. Cole's Cash.
Cole's Cash.
That's what it is.
My dog got himself a whole chain swing low with a Cole's Cash logo on it. I ain't mad at him for it. Do you think, Kirk Cousins? I also am team short sleeve patterned dress shirt. Let's go. That's a vibe, dog. That and some white New Balances. Every soccer mom up in the club gonna have her eyes on me. I ain't mad at you, Kirk. Do you think? So, Kirk Cousins strikes me as a guy that might be willing to mentor a young guy for a year, knowing that, hey, that's my replacement. And I think Kirk does want to come back to Minnesota. I'll be real with you. I don't know that there is a lot of teams out there that I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that have the attractiveness of a Minnesota in terms of getting a vet QB to stand in for a year and mentor. James said, good luck getting a vet like Cousins or Russ Wilson to mentor his replacement. I agree. Most guys don't do it, and reasonably and understandably don't do it. Why would you train somebody to take your job unless you're at the tail end of it? Here's the thing.
Yeah, I think every time I have to train someone, I think, is this the guy? Is this the one that replaces me? So I think it's that way in any job, but especially in the NFL.
I will say this to Lonzo. I will say it to Kirk Cousins. I will say it to anybody. It does not matter who you train. If you do the job better than them, it will stay your job. So if they bring Jaden Daniels up to Minnesota and you get to week 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16 next year, and Kirk Cousins is still playing well and winning games, it's going to stay his job. The NFL is cold and calculated. They don't care who you are. They care only that you help them win. And if Kirk comes back and has a Pro Bowl season under his belt, he's not going anywhere,
By the way,
especially at that position.
Not worried about Kirk Cousins and money, because all he does is get that contract that makes people go, how did he do that? Every single time.
So, Atlanta. This is where I intended this conversation to go. Let's talk about the owners of the worst Super Bowl collapse in the history of the game. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are a very interesting squad to me. Why? I've mentioned this many times in the past. It's because they have a fantastic set of skill position players. Their wide receiver unit is as good as almost anybody's in the National Football League. Bijan Robinson very much looked like he's going to be a dude in the ATL for like a hot minute. The defense for Atlanta is dramatically underappreciated. I've been saying that for a while. The only spot they were lacking in, to me, is a quarterback spot. Now, that is part of the reason that I like but don't love the pick of Raheem Morris as the new HC in the ATL. You're bringing a defensive-minded guy for a team that, in my ever so humble opinion, needs to dial in on the offense. Your defense was fine. Your defense is fine. Dial in on the offense. So the question mark then becomes, how do you end up fixing that when you got to bring in a new quarterback? Well, you have two options now if you're Atlanta. Option number one is you go all in on a trade for Justin Fields. Option two is you go all in for a trade up to 3 and you get the guy. Now, I think Justin Fields could be a good NFL quarterback. I absolutely do. And you saw that towards the end of the year. All of a sudden, the Bears did a good enough job that Matt Eberflus kept his job. A guy that in week 10 was good as dead has Undertakered his way out of the coffin and back into the ring. And Justin Fields looked better as that happened. But Chicago's got the number 1 overall pick. For whatever reason, the NFL draft know-it-alls believe that Caleb Williams is a generational quarterback. I don't. I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's a generational difference maker. But that's just me. If Chicago decides that he's the guy and they want to go on with Justin Fields, they'll move him. And if you're Atlanta, that's got to be interesting. Here is the thing. I do think that Jaden Daniels is a bona fide superstar, a can't-miss prospect. Now, I might be alone in that. I know that I was alone when I picked him for the Heisman. I think there was like me and one other guy I did a podcast with. I think my dog Q on our pod picked him, and that was the list, right?
I only listen for your dog. Sorry.
I'm not mad at that. I was alone in that, and now I stand alone as the one guy I believe probably in upstate radio that called Jaden Daniels as your Heisman Trophy winner. So I truly believe Jaden Daniels is a can't-miss prospect. So if I'm Atlanta, I have two options. I can go get Justin Fields, or I can get Jaden Daniels at the 3 spot. But I got to make a move. I think Atlanta has to make a move. I do not think it's an option. I think they have to make a move. Question is, what move do you make? Do you make a move for a guy that's been in Chicago for a couple of years and just started to look like he got it towards the very end of this season. By the way, after Chicago was well out of contention and wasn't really being taken seriously as a threat by anybody. Or do you go get the guy out of LSU fresh off of a Heisman Trophy win? To me, the answer is you go get Jayden Daniels. And this is very interesting. What's very interesting is that I think you are going to almost have to pay pretty much the same price to get either one of them.
So you're going to take a chance on the guy who's never played a snap in the NFL as opposed to someone who is pretty good but has been used the wrong way by a coaching staff.
Yes, but that's just me because I have a subjective analysis of Jayden Daniels that says that dude has everything.
And I also have a bias towards Justin Fields.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's that, but still, again, it's a gamble bringing anybody in, number one draft pick or Mr. Irrelevant, and believing that they're going to be successful until you actually see what they're doing on the field. At least with Justin Fields, you pretty much know what you got.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I absolutely agree that Matt Eberflus in the Chicago Bears did not set Justin Fields up for success. But I also know that in the face of not being set up for success, there were very few moments where I looked at Justin Fields and went, that's the flash. That's the flash of a guy who can do it. That's the flash of a stud. That's the flash of a Pro Bowler. I didn't see that. I saw some flashes that showed me he could be good. I never saw flashes that made me think that guy can be great. So if I'm asking the question about both of those guys, which of those two do I think can be great? The answer with Fields is, yes, he's got the experience. Yes, I've seen him do it. I have not seen flashes of great. I mean it when I say, yes, LSU season was disappointing. Were they in 9-3? I think they're 6-6 without Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels rewrote the record books at LSU. A school that's put out some pretty damn good quarterbacks, if I may reflect for just a minute on guys like Joey B. Jamarcus Russell. This guy rewrote those record books. I don't know that either one of them is going to be great, but I think Jayden Daniels has every tool to be great. I know what I've seen out of Justin Fields, and the flashes of greatness just haven't been there for me. Atlanta, I hate you as a football team, but as an analyst, because 100% when Rob's on the mic, the fan cap comes off, the analyst cap goes on. As an opinion haver and having a master's degree in the knowing of ball, the correct move here is to trade up to number 3 with New England, cross your fingers that Chicago goes Caleb Williams, that Washington goes Drake May, and that Jayden Daniels falls to 3. The worst case scenario is you trade up to 3 and then Washington shocks everybody and takes Jayden Daniels. Now you're stuck with Drake May. But here's the thing. I don't think Drake May is going to be great. I don't have any reason to think that Drake May will be any worse than Justin Fields. I think you're in the same situation and it's cost you the same thing. Atlanta, the right move is to jump up, get Jayden Daniels, get a generational quarterback, and flourish. I said it in the first hour. I'll say it in this hour. If Atlanta ends the draft with Justin Fields, Atlanta will win the division next year. That's how good I think this cat's going to be. Let's take a break. Oh, Texter says, Rob, why shouldn't Chicago pick Marvin Harrison Jr.? He looks like a generational talent. Oh, I'm not saying they shouldn't. Chicago has 2 picks in the top 10. Remember, because that number 1 pick is courtesy of your Carolina Panthers.
Thank you, Panthers.
Yep. Chicago picks again at number 9. Now, I'm not saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be available at number 9. What I am saying is, if you ask me which position is more important at the NFL level, I got DJ Moore at wide receiver already. I got Cole Kmet at tight end. I got a decent squad of pass catchers. I got to have somebody that I can trust to consistently deliver the football. I got to go quarterback first. Now, if they decided Justin Fields is the guy, then yes, I'm trading back out of number 1, and I'm trading back with out of number 1 with the Giants, with the Titans, or with the Falcons, and I'm going to be in that 6, 7, 8 range. Maybe at LA's at 5. They're not going anywhere. They got their quarterback. Arizona's at 4. They're not going anywhere. They got their quarterback. So I'm trading back to 6, 7, or 8. I'm grabbing 2 picks in that window, and one of them would be Marvin Harrison Jr. But I've got to make sure I have a quarterback before I make sure I have that wide receiver.
You said those teams have their quarterback.
Yeah.
Why would they not pick Marvin Harrison Jr.?
They very much might. If I'm Arizona, I'm very interested in Marvin Harrison Jr. So if you're Chicago, that may not, again, it's the draft, man. It's like playing the stock market. There's risk to every move. There's the risk if you stay at 1, you decide JF is the guy, you go Marvin Harrison Jr. There's a risk you find out later that nobody was going to take MJH off the board or MHJ off the board until like New Orleans at 14. And now you're like, oh, I could have traded back. But you got to have your quarterback figured out first. Welcome to the NFL. That's how the game is played. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got a few more things we need to discuss, debate, and have general discourse about on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Oh. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging in there, dudes and dudettes. Much appreciated as always. You guys are the best.
Markets has everything you need to fuel your athlete and satisfy all the hungry things in your life. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Now, I use my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/free.
Hey, Mark, remember, getting help from Progressive is so easy. You can use the mobile app to chat what's online or call us.
And you pick now to tell me. I couldn't miss Little Grace's ballet recital. Oh, thanks for reminding me, by the way.
Did I? Because you know I'm always here for you.
Yeah. I can use the mobile app if I need help. Sorry, you're in my wife's seat, though.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go anyway. Tell Grace she nailed her chassé.
Get the help you need from Progressive with our mobile app, online chat, or over the phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
As per what we were talking about earlier about zombie games, just want to say, I like zombie games like Dead Island in games like that where you can build weapons to take out the zombie and not have to look for like a putty knife somewhere.
I like zombie games where the zombies are fodder, not horror games where the horror is a zombie.
Oh, I don't mind that as long as I have like a gun with some bullets in it. Because just because I have a gun doesn't mean I can actually shoot the thing. I could miss. I do that a lot. Or like at least a Michael Myers knife. I want to say butcher knife. I think that's a butcher knife. Anyway, as long as if I have something with a little bit of a reach, I might have a shot at it. And in those games, can you punch a zombie? I mean, I don't know how effective it might be, but you could knock it out of the way so you could run, right? I want to F5 a zombie. Watch his head roll off as it hits the ground.
Did I save the picture? I don't think I did. There is a movie called Wrestlers versus Zombies.
No. Really?
Starring Roddy Piper, Kurt Angle, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Shane Douglas, Matt Hardy, Reba Sky. Who else is in it? Matthew Rush.
Well, obviously this was out a long time ago because Roddy Piper was in it. But
2014.
Wow.
Yeah. Famous wrestlers are pitted against hordes of undead when they unknowingly walk into a death trap. So basically they get booked to do a show and then it ends up being a zombie asylum.
Any idea where it's streaming?
I'll find it. I know it popped up on my Google TV, and that's the only way I know about it. And I'm 100% taking a night to drink bourbon and watch Zombies versus Wrestlers. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Up. Say happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Robin Lonzo with you on a Fat Tuesday. Be a part of the show. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. The text line open 71307. Start your text with Fan FM. We'll read them on the air. Text says, Rob, I have a legitimate question that I don't know the answer to. What is the success rate of former Heisman winners in the NFL? That's a good question. I'll tell you what I'll do, Texter, just for you. If you will promise me that you'll come back tomorrow, and if you will promise me that you will tell 5 friends, I'll do the research for you tonight. I will put together an exhaustive list of Heisman Trophy winners in the NFL.
Are you asking the question exclusively about quarterbacks or just Heisman Trophy winners in general?
I was assuming working on quarterbacks because that's what we were talking about. So I will put together, if you promise me you'll be here tomorrow, Texter, and you will tell 5 friends about the show. I promise.
How are you going to know that he told 5 friends?
I know. I'm just going to, it's an honor system around
all
here.
Right.
All right. It's an honor system. I ate 75 chicken nuggets on a stream Saturday. I have honor. It's an honor system.
That's what constitutes honor these days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey, you pay off your bets, you have honor. All right. If you will tell 5 friends about the show, I will answer that question tomorrow. I will do the deep dive on Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. I will come up with a career conglomeration betwixt them all and bring it up on the show tomorrow. All right. NFL power rankings for the 2024 season. Let's take a gander at how ESPN stacks up these teams. Now, obviously, a lot could change between now and the draft coming up at the end of April. But it's radio. It's what we do. We speculate and we have some fun. Let's go with this. Lonzo, would you like to take just the most random stab in the dark at who ESPN has power ranked dead last in the league going into the 2024 season?
That would be our Carolina Panthers.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct.
By the way, aside, that movie's on Peacock, supposedly.
I'm all in. There's a movie called Wrestlers versus Zombies, starring Roddy Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggars in either. Jim Duggars?
Good old Jim Duggar.
Good old Jim Duggars.
The Duggars are in it. Cool.
Ho! Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Can't wait. Gonna watch it. Found it last night. 100% going to have some adult sody pops and watch that movie. Are you kidding me? It's going to be the greatest thing that's ever been put on film. 32nd in the league, according to ESPN. Write-up says the Panthers made Dave Canellis their third non-interim head coach in less than 3 years and fourth since 2019. They did it to help turn around quarterback Bryce Young, whom Canellis called a, quote, amazing talent. Canellis hopes to do what he did for Baker Mayfield this past season and Geno Smith in 2022 when both had career seasons. Young needs support after ranking next to last in total QBR during his rookie season. The offseason described in 3 words by ESPN was, quote, another coaching change, end quote.
So, I hope he does turn things around, but if he doesn't and he leaves or is let go, I hope he says, I thought I could fix it, but I can't. By the way, I don't want that to happen. I want him to fix it. But, that kind of honesty would be refreshing.
Coach speak. Always with the coach speak.
You think Tepper wrote that for him?
No,
Say this.
This was I think Rashad and I will talk about this on Thursday when he joins us. I genuinely find Dave Canellis genuine. Now, maybe he's just a real good actor.
And I think Rashad will also gloat about how his hate being activated worked.
Sure did. Hater mode engage. I got to pull that. Rashad's going to be a drop on this show. I got dibs on that one. So, I find Dave Canellis very genuine. Here is my biggest fear for Carolina in the 2024 season. My biggest fear is that y'all think that this is an immediate turnaround situation. That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that y'all think this team's going to go from 2-15 to 15-2 in a single year, and they are very not going to do that.
Do you want to show me success? Do better than the last 2 or 3 coaches.
What would you say if I asked you to stick a record on it? What's the number they got to get in the win category for Alonzo to go, okay, not what we wanted, but a good season? 6?
6. But I also want to see progression from game 1 to the last game. That players and plays and everything, you can see that there's upward momentum.
I've said for years, including this past season for the Panthers, that my firm belief is that I am not, can't, won't, have no interest in looking exclusively at a record and saying the team got better or worse based on wins and losses, because there's a billion factors that go into those things.
I get all that, but here's what you do. If you can win 6 and show progression, it's going to help people like me, but also people who just look at records and go, okay, they got better. Because there are people in the stands who are just there when they win.
Oh, for sure.
Because I've been there when they were winning and that place is packed out and it's amazing.
Sure.
And I've been there the opposite.
I think that, at least for me, you have to and also should not cater to those fans. You have to, because you got to sell tickets and you got to move merch. But also you can't. Because the majority of, remember earlier when I said I'll get myself in trouble sometimes, the majority of fans don't know ball. It's just a source of entertainment for them. And that's fine. That's good.
Which, by the way, is what it's supposed to be.
100%.
Yeah.
But you know where we get our primary entertainment in the land of sports?
Winning.
Dubs, for sure. I'm looking for the dubs. And I get that. But there is a balance that must be struck between the short term and the long term. You have to realize you are playing a long... My cape came unvelcroed.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to notice.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. We're back. The long term and the short term, there must be a balance between the two.
Should I go ahead and point out that you did it over your headphones and you're looking for disaster?
Son of a biscuit. There we go.
See, that's what a friend does. That's a guy who lets you know you got something in your nose. That's a guy who lets you know, hey, man, pull your pants up. Stuff like that.
Pull your pants up?
Yeah, because, sometimes.
What is going on in your life?
Well, hey, the moon should only come out at night.
Steven said, can we not talk Panther football? I'm already depressed this morning.
You should be excited, Steven, that you actually get to go to work after all you've been through, dude. I mean, come on.
That's fair. My man had the struggle going for a minute. All right, so you have to balance the short term and the long term. The short term is, I want to win. I want to buy my tickets, and I want to go to the bank, and I want to go to the bank with an actual belief that, my goodness, maybe, just maybe, I'll get to see a dog.
Yeah, you want to fly your colors and go, hey, my team's doing well, as opposed to, yeah, let me tell you how they can fix it.
Yeah. There's a flip side to that coin. The flip side of that coin is, of course, the reality that it's not easy to just get wins. There's a whole lot that goes into roster building and team management and personnel management and front office administration, and all these things have to come together. And also, you got to find your Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, whatever. You got to find your guys. That's the long-term game. The long-term game is you can't just be looking at 2023 and thinking, all right, how do we get some dubs right now? You got to be looking at, all right, how are we going to win in 24? How are we going to look in 25? How are we going to look in 26? How do we get to where we are competitive every year, not just competitive for a very short window? And I kind of get the impression that is the direction this team is in now with Dan Morgan in the GM role, right? My favorite thing was during the press conference when they said, Dan Morgan, what's the biggest change you need to make? And what did he say? We got to find some dogs. We got to find some dogs. We got to find some guys who want to win, who want to kill to be here. That's what we got to find.
Again, you know why you need to find them? That's implying you don't have them.
For sure. Listen, I told Rashad this. I told you this. I very much think that this is a warning shot to the guys in the locker room, right? You're not saying none of y'all are dogs. You're saying some of y'all ain't dogs. Some of y'all ain't got that dog in you. And we need dudes who got that dog in them. So here's what you can do. Either A, you can show us you got that dog in you, or B, you can get the hell out. It's your call. But you do know you've got to go find guys. You've got to go get free agents. You got to bring guys to Charlotte who want to be there, who want to win there. Canella seems very genuine. Canella feels like a dude who has had enough bleep go on in his life that he's kind of past all that. All of us kind of have something happen to us one day where you go, that's it, I don't take anymore. And it kind of feels like Canellis is at that point, which is good. That's what you need. Dan Morgan came out of the womb not taking. You can see it in his lunatic eyes, and that's a compliment, by the way. But you got to balance short-term and long-term. And my biggest fear for this year, regardless of how the draft goes, my biggest fear for this year is that Carolina is going to be a 6 or 7 win football team this year. And some of y'all are going to go, oh, we suck. We're not good enough. I'm not buying I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And listen, if you don't want to invest in this team because David Tepper has ruined it, I understand completely. But I think you also got to understand there is a tone. These players aren't dumb. They have social media. They are on the internet. And when there is a tone going around your football program within your crowd base, they hear it, they pick up on it, they react to it. That's just a reality. I'm having a fight right now with a bunch of people on Saints message boards because our fan base has very quickly turned toxic. Y'all, we won a Super Bowl a dozen years ago. 12 years ago, we won a Super Bowl, and they're acting like we're just entitled to be in another one. It's like, y'all got to stop. You got to stop. It's one thing to criticize.
It sounds like another fan base, I know.
For sure. It is one thing to criticize and critique. It is one thing to acknowledge that Dennis Allen is back and think that sucks. It's another thing to bust up on the team personally. That's a problem. There's a toxic environment going on, and players understand that. They hear that, they see it, they react to it. How much more difficult is it to get top-notch free agents to want to come play for you when they go, yo, all the fans there, they suck.
It's a complete crap.
They suck. I don't want to be around that. Those fans suck. Why would I not want to go to Kansas City? right? And I think that's kind of a problem area for you to be in. So all I'm saying is I like what's happening right now in the offseason for the Carolina Panthers. I actually like the coaching hires. I think there were maybe some better options, but I also understand just because I like them as better options doesn't mean that those better options were going to pick you as an option. I like the coaching hires. I love that Canellis was able to keep Ejiro Evero on the staff. I love that. I love that they were able to keep the defensive coaching staff intact. I thought it was a good one. I love the fact that Canellis brought his dudes and Tep didn't go, yeah, Dave, you're the head coach, but this is who I want as your offensive coordinator. This is who I want as your offensive line coach. This is who I want as your running backs coach, which is what he did going into the Frank Reich regime. If nothing else changes, I love that at least Tep got the hell out of the way and let Canellis build. He let him cook. That's good news. My fear is that some of y'all think that this is like a quick turnaround, like a 1-year turnaround. Like next year, we're in the mix. No, you're not. No, you're not. And that's okay. Because this is a 2 or a 3-year rebuild, not a 1-year rebuild. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got one segment left before we call it a Tuesday. We got a few more quick topics. We got what the X is going on. It's all coming up when we return. It's Rob and Lonzo. It's Mardi Gras Day on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate, y'all.
Champions after beating the 49ers in overtime on Sunday, 25-22 was the final. Dynasty status officially bestowed upon this team. Can they make it 3 in a row? Head coach Andy Reid says,
we got great competition in the AFC West. We just had some hirings, coaching hirings, and these guys are good football coaches with good quarterbacks, good teams. And so it's not going to just be easy. That's not how this thing rolls.
Could the 65-year-old Reid be thinking of stepping away after winning 3 Super Bowls in 5 years?
I honestly haven't even thought about it, but I get asked it. I keep saying, why didn't Belichick and Pete retire? These guys, if they ask them, they're guys. I'm the old guy now.
The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins basketball play-by-play live all season long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs. So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sit-a-thon and grab a seat or two. Ends 3-2. In-store only. See associate for details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry, divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch.
That movie's only an hour and a half long, too, by the way.
What movie? The Wrestlers versus Zombies?
Yes.
I may genuinely have to do like a full review of that movie, like a full breakdown of that movie.
If I can remind myself, and I even wrote it down, doesn't mean I'll remember when I get home. I may watch that when I get home.
I am fully going to be critiquing technique of moves.
Well,
you know, Rowdy Piper put one dude into the camel clutch there, and I feel like he didn't really lock it in, you know?
Well, if Piper doesn't take a zombie's head off with a coconut, then I'm going to be upset. And what kind of zombies are we talking about? Are they brain-eating zombies?
I haven't seen any of it. Haven't seen a trailer or anything. I just saw the screen cap of it.
Yeah, as Rob pointed out earlier, they just like walk into a place and there's zombies. So, I mean, you know, and the wrestlers are going to do what they do. Question is it a 2014 or 2013 WWE storyline?
I mean, most of the guys in it, Matt Hardy's in it.
Right.
He's a horror guy, so you know he had some input on it.
I'm sure he puts forth an Oscar-winning performance. This was before Broken Matt Hardy, right? So
Yes. Well, right around the same time, I think, actually.
All right. It would have been better if Jeff Hardy was in it and he was one of the zombies. But yeah.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
Mardi Gras Tuesday. Oh, you don't need to say that's redundant. It's Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. It's not Fat Tuesday. Anyway, happy Mardi
Did
Gras.
that cape come with the crown?
It did. I almost wore the crown today. So it came with like a plastic costume crown, but a number of years ago I got a genuine, legitimate crown. Like a brass genuine crown. And I almost wore it today. And I thought maybe that's a little over the top. So I just went with the velvet purple cape. I felt like that was discreet enough, you know?
I would have loved to have seen you try to keep that crown on your head.
That was the other problem, is I couldn't have done it with the headphones. And I knew that. I need to get me some earbuds for hat day here at work.
Yeah, like I have. I keep those in there for next time I decide to wear the cowboy hat, which has to be twice a year for the investment.
All right. Texter said, Zach said, does your fiance know you're wearing this to work? And did you put this on in the dark so she couldn't see it? Oh, no, she's well aware. Are you kidding me? I'll wear this around the house today.
He was dressed like this similarly last year. And so was I. I wear stuff last year. I just didn't this year because I'm lazy.
I didn't remind him yesterday.
No, I still have the stuff. It's in there in the basket.
That's true. I gave you like a whole ass bag of beads.
I have it. They're in there.
Yeah.
No, you took a bunch of the beads back, but I still have some of the necklaces and stuff.
I had to distribute them equally amongst the masses. It's Mardi Gras, dude. This is supposed to be the most I don't care day of the year. Every day is I don't care day for me, but today is the most I don't care day. And I'm here for it. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
Brown Show presents Twitter.
Hey, you hesitated,
No, it's perfect. You did it right.
All right. Yeah, no. Time for What the X, where I ask Rob what the X is going on, and he will tell everybody why. The first thing that's Xing is Usher.
Still trending, eh? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to bring that up.
For a couple of reasons, by the way.
Apparently, Usher had like a big lawsuit against him a couple of years ago.
Yeah, this is not why he's Xing. He got married.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I saw this yesterday. There was a video going around on TikTok of this lady who was like, I guess Usher like got married like days before the Super Bowl or something like that.
Well, they're making it sound like they got married
at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that night.
And then he gets up on stage and he's like, all up on my girl Alicia Keys. That what I say on Monday. I'm like, Ush, back up, bro.
Well, it's part of the choreography, which I'm sure he had nothing to do with. He just did as directed. All right,
for sure.
The other thing, and this answers a question I had, he did approach Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber said, I'm not feeling it.
Word, dog?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay,
cool.
because I was disappointed. I wanted to see Bieber up there, and he wasn't up there. And, how can you have Usher doing the Super Bowl without Bieber, and Bieber just wasn't feeling it? He was there.
Look, Biebs made his call, who the hell? I don't need exposure.
There are some days when we're not feeling it, but we don't have a choice.
That's true. If I made Justin Bieber money, there would be a lot of bleep you I'm out days.
All right. The next thing that's Xing is Cartoon Network.
I got nothing for Cartoon Network.
Really?
Yeah.
I got a bunch for Cartoon Network. I love Cartoon Network.
They're trending for one reason. I'm saying I don't know what the reason is.
They're trending one of those, what was the best era of Cartoon Network things?
Gotcha. That's a good one, man. I'm gonna go the Johnny Bravo era.
So,
Was
yeah,
very much at the top.
I'm going to go Toonami back when they introduced Dragon Ball, because that's where I first found it.
It's a lot about taste. I'm not a big anime guy. There's a couple I liked. I was in on Dragon Ball Z when I was in college, but like not an anime guy. So I'm gonna go with the classics. I'm gonna go with the job. But I also know that the early days of Cartoon Network were like the OG cartoons, and they were all in on that.
People jumping in Keegan, Johnny Quest or Tsunami. I loved the remake of Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest was good. I was also like what Race Bannon was in a mock Sequest. Sequest was a great show. I'm gonna go
Space Ghost Coast to Coast was
love that show.
Yeah,
adored Space Ghost. Brock was one of the greatest cartoon characters of all time. That show was good.
All right, the next thing is Blake Lively.
Blake Lively. There's a video going around of her. She was the girl that was up next to Tay-Tay.
They were hugging and all that kind of stuff.
Jumping around, chest bumping, whatever. But there's a video going around after the Chiefs touchdown where Blake's on the camera, and you can't hear her, obviously, but you can very clearly see Blake mouth the words, "Shut the up." And everybody was like, "Oh, Blake's a football gal. Good job, Ryan Reynolds."
All right, so
way to go, Deadpool.
So the reason why she was Xing is because Ryan Reynolds threw up an X asking where his wife was, and then she got home and she threw up one of her standing next to a TV screen with Deadpool on it.
Yeah. Honey, I'm home. Drop it. And by the way, looking disheveled from her trip to Vegas, totally understandable. I'm just going to say Ryan Reynolds, as rich and famous and handsome as he is, still outkicked his coverage with Blake Lively.
All right. There are a lot of pictures and videos up there of the suite where Taylor Swift and Blake Lively and Ice Spice were, and how lively that was. And then they showed Kim Kardashian suite, and like everybody looked like they were, it's like, okay, here's fun. Here's not fun.
Yeah.
Famous and fun. Just famous.
Trey said Carl from Aqua Teen should have had his own show. For about a year on YouTube, Carl released his NFL picks of the weekend, and it was I got my picks from Carl, and he was good. Loved it. All right, that's it for us, y'all. Appreciate you guys coming by. Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, another legend.
I wouldn't let my son watch Ed, and Eddie.
Why? And then it was great.
Bad influence.
How was it a bad influence?
They were bad influences.
How?
They just were.
They were idiots.
Exactly. Didn't want any of that rubbing off.
Good thing none of us do shows filled with a cast of idiots.
Exactly.
That's it for us. Y'all have a great
Wait,
Tuesday.
You just call me. I gotta go.
I would never.
Where's HR?
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Underappreciated.
Stupid dog.
Y'all have a great Fat Tuesday. Be safe out there. Make good decisions. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. This the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Yeah. Dexter's Laboratory. Get out of my laboratory.
By the way, Didi got beat out.
Didi.
She got beat out. She is not going to be in the 64.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I recall. Yeah, I don't think she made it. Of course, I don't remember the two. Good thing I wrote it down. Or did she? I don't remember. Anyway. I just reminded myself I have to put together that full bracket before Saturday. And all the hate that's going to come my way. I already had Odie. You know what you should do is like, when I pointed this out, that I would take all the hate, all the heat, all everything that everybody wants to change this, and I'm not going to. You're trying to ask me to do something that I already said I'm not going to do. Ren and Stimpy. So you never watch Ed and Eddie and thought, hey, let's go try that.
I'm going to be real with you. I watched like very little Ed and Eddie.
Because you were older. He was right there at that age.
That was kind of after me and my cartooning prime. All right, dudes and dudettes, so we're up out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Have a lovely rest of your Fat Tuesday. Go celebrate. Go enjoy. Have a whiskey. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Adios.